Right, sons, everybody, and welcome back to Castles and Company, Episode 9. My name is Jared Hendrickson, and we got the whole gang here today to talk about Marvel movies. So we got Wynneth with us today. Say hello, Wynneth.
Hi, everyone.
Then we got Nathan,
Hello.
and then Liam,
Hello.
and Ashley, all the way from Missouri. Say hello.
I'm actually in Wisconsin this time.
Whoa! How'd you get
Hey, y'all.
there?
By car. Yeah.
Nice.
They have cars in Wisconsin? That's crazy.
What?
Surprisingly, they do. They do have more than just cheese here. We
Aren't the
also
cars
have
made of
cars.
cheese?
No, sadly.
Well, that explains why you're so cheesy today. But all right.
That was terrible.
Yeah.
I want to leave the podcast. End it now.
Well, you know how it is. You know how it is. But anyways, we got a lot to talk about today. So real quick, we'll just go through some Disney news, but then we'll get on to our ranking of all the different Disney movie, or not all the different Disney movies, all the different MCU movies from phases 1 through 3. So as you know, Black Panther, what is it called? Black Widow comes out tomorrow. Is anyone here gonna go see that?
Yes, soon.
I don't know. I feel like it's not really a movie that they made me really excited for. No hate to Scarlett Johansson, but I feel like I'll probably just wait until I can, like, I don't know, stream it for a cheaper price. Definitely not illegally watch it online is not what I will do.
You're like a cheaper price. Wink, wink. Nathan, you're gonna watch it, right? Or no? You're probably not gonna.
Probably not. It's
Damn.
the type of thing where, like, if I was sitting in front of a TV and it was on, I would watch it.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not that excited either. Liam, I forget. Are you excited? I forget if you're watching it.
I might go and see it, but I'm not expecting anything crazy from it.
Like, what is there to be excited about
It's the
other
first
than
movie.
Scarlett Johansson?
Yeah, literally the only thing
yeah,
is like
spoiler.
it's the first
Has
movie.
everyone seen like the Avengers movies?
Yes.
Like
just
to make
we're
sure.
ranking the movies today.
Okay, that's fair. Because I was gonna be like, okay, well, the first thing is she's dead. So
Whoa!
Nice.
Spoiler alert.
Spoilers.
that's what Yeah. So it didn't.
Well, I guess it's not going to be a very good movie then, is it?
Well, it's more that I don't get why we're getting a Black Widow movie now, like because
I mean, Marvel movies time jump like with like Captain Marvel, like they time jumped with her, so maybe.
Yeah, but that was to set up like Endgame because she shows up in Endgame.
Well, you know what they
Like-
say.
Yeah.
Black Widow is dropping in theaters tomorrow, just like she did back in Endgame.
Oh my gosh.
No, Jared, that was worse than the cheese one.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not on a roll today. Anyways, so that's the first MCU movie of Phase 4 coming out, so that's why we're reviewing all the Phase 3 movies today. Or not reviewing, ranking them. But in other Marvel news, of course, we had... I forget if everyone here got a chance to look at it, but Marvel released toys with the first look at the new Spider-Man suits coming out in... Was it... I can never remember the names. There's Far From Home, No Way Home. Did everyone get a chance to look at that?
Yeah, I looked.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jared, for sending it.
So that was pretty cool. They have like, one of the Spider-Man suits is kind of like his Iron Spider suit. It's got like the gold spider in the middle, and then like the other one's like a black suit with gold on it. But it's very unclear if that one's even going to be in the movie, as far as I can tell. Like from like the Marvel had shown like like the Lego sets and things that they're making, it didn't seem like it was part of No Way Home. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see for that. Any comments? Do y'all like the suits? Don't like the suits?
They're okay.
Excited to see an Iron Spider suit.
Yeah,
Me too.
same.
I'm excited to see a black suit, especially if it's got gold on it. I love gold. All right, real quick, we're just gonna do these right in a row. So, just for episode's sake, for this week, we've had Loki episode 5 that had dropped, so there's one more episode of Loki coming out next week, so tune into that for the finale. And then Bad Batch also had another episode, so those were both pretty good. I don't think anyone here had a chance to watch them. Maybe Ashley saw Loki.
Yep,
Okay.
of course I did. If anyone is debating if you should watch Loki or not, definitely watch it. Watch it now. Don't get spoiled for it. Because that accidentally happened to me for one episode. Watch it before you get spoiled. It's amazing, fantastic. I love Tom Hiddleston. Once again, Tom, if you're out there, I'm free every weekend. So please hit my line.
Amazing.
What would Tom Holland think?
Do you want Tom Holland? Oh wait, never mind. Tom Holland. Please treat Zendaya right, because if you
Period.
don't, I will.
Yeah, same. I'm with Ashley on that one.
So next we've got in TV shows Star Wars Visions. I think it was a trailer for, it's like an anime. It's like a Star Wars anime. It's coming out. I have actually not watched this trailer yet, but I don't know. Real quick, go through. Gwyneth, yes or no? Star Wars anime.
Yeah, so it is a Star Wars anime, and it's kind of
This was a yes or no question.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Yes,
Sorry,
Nathan.
Jared.
Star Wars anime.
Yes.
Liam, Star Wars anime.
Like,
Are you interested? Yes or no?
if it seems like it's good, I haven't seen anything about it, so I don't know.
Ashley,
If it looks good, then yeah.
Star Wars anime.
Maybe.
You like anime, right?
Yeah,
guess you
I
don't
do,
care for
which is
Star
why
Wars
it's a
much.
maybe. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly why it's a maybe.
Exactly. We're getting you there. Okay, and then last thing on the day, for the news, we have some updates.
It's like normal
Oh.
Star Wars, but everyone has a really big lightsaber.
Oh my gosh.
Bro, no,
Anyways,
Because all those anime with like people having like huge swords and stuff.
Oh, that's
that's
not
where
what I
you were
was
going
thinking.
with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, god damn it.
All
Oh,
I'm
gosh
saying
darn
is
it.
that there's no schoolgirls in space, bro.
Whoa,
Not yet.
so-
Okay, well,
Coming soon in the Star Wars anime.
Oh boy. Okay, so finally in Disneyland news, we've got Matterhorn has reopened, Astro Blasters has reopened, and then Disney is offering a 3-day California ticket. So you can get, if you're a California resident, you can get 3 days of tickets for $250. I have proposed this, but no one here seems to want to go. So I think it's
Jared.
Except
Jared,
for-
I literally sent it to you.
I know. You
Jared.
didn't let me finish. I was saying I was gonna say it's except for Gwyneth, so it's gonna be just me and Gwyneth going. I'm a third wheel.
I
Her and her
just
boyfriend.
Oh no.
no. I mean, I would love to, but y'all
don't
have
have
some
money.
high hopes for me. Yeah, if you think I have $200+ in the bank account, you are sadly mistaken. It's
Liam,
not me.
Liam, we gotta get you to Disneyland because you haven't been on the new ride yet, have you?
No, I haven't. Yeah, I haven't been to Disneyland in forever. I want to go at some point, but just at some point.
Well, anyway, that's mostly Disney news for this week. Final Disney news from our podcast is that Liam and I did record a Cruella review where Liam tore into that movie, and that will be dropping sometime this week. So look forward to that. Liam,
Talk about it was the worst movie I've ever seen, and it was
nice,
it's all right.
great comments. Worst movies I ever saw. Quoted from
if you
no, but real
if you,
quick.
hey, if you want my real thoughts, you should go watch the review.
There you go. But how
Ooh.
about for people who aren't like a non-spoiler review to get people to go see it, or like or to like give people an idea if they should see it. What was the rank you gave it? Out of 10?
I think I gave it like a 4.
Yikes.
So I gave it a 6, so do what you will with that information. If you want to learn more about it, go ahead and listen to our video and see if you're interested in seeing it. So yeah, but now here's the actual exciting part of the night. Drum roll please, Liam. Nice. I can't even hear it.
See, this is what happens when
I'll add
background
one in.
noise is muted.
Oh yeah, you
just
had
add
Mason
one
in that background like maximum.
I'll add a drum roll in later. All right. So
Dang.
we're starting off 20, starting at number 23 for ranking the MCU movies. So what we did is we pulled everyone in the Castles and Company gang together, and we averaged out all of our scores to see which movies we like the most. There was a lot of when we were first talking about this, there's a lot of people who are very unhappy with other people's lists. I believe Ashley was very unhappy with Nathan's list, if I'm
Yeah,
correct. So
yeah, very correct.
Nathan has a lot of defending to do. So be prepared, Nathan. So the only person who knows which order these are in is me right now. So this is a surprise for everyone else here on the podcast. So starting off at number 23, worst ranked movie of phase 1 through 3 is Captain Marvel. All the way to the bottom.
Not surprised. Disclaimer for the podcast. We love women. This is not because we hate women. Brie Larson, I love you.
No, wait. Actually, I did the math wrong. It was actually the Hulk and then Captain Marvel.
Okay.
So
Okay,
Nice.
you should switch that, bro.
Yeah, okay, real quick. So Hulk got 35 points, Captain Marvel got 36 points. So we have Hulk and then Captain Marvel. So we don't hate women here on the podcast. We just hate green people.
Brie Larson.
Yeah, Brie Larson, I'm so sorry.
Oh man, we must
Um,
really hate Gamora.
Do you know what? Actually, I will get into that later. We're gonna get into that actually.
Yeah. In my
Yeah.
personal list, I ranked Guardians really low. I think Liam had a problem with me.
You didn't
Yeah,
like
that
Guardians,
was-
bro?
That was insanity. Well, it was more that he has Guardians 2 in like in 7th, but then the first one in 19th. Like
Acceptable.
I didn't feel I didn't feel like they were that like different in like quality.
Yeah, I agree with Liam.
So who here has seen Captain Marvel? I know I have.
No.
Yeah.
Disclaimer: I haven't seen a lot of movies on this list.
Yeah,
So,
no, I
yeah.
don't know.
I've heard only
Why?
horrible things.
I mean, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't great. Like a lot of the Marvel, like we're ranking the Marvel movies, but these are all like pretty good movies, at least in my opinion. It's kind of hard to rank like. How do you compare the first Avengers movie with like Ragnarok? You know what I mean? Like they're both really good movies.
Easily.
Okay, I don't know
Okay,
if we can say they're
yeah.
all pretty good movies.
No.
Yeah, there's
The
a
majority of
Because-
them are pretty
Exactly.
good movies.
No. Okay, because here's what I did. Like when I was ranking them, I thought like if I had a TV and it only had 2 channels, and if I had to pick between watching one movie or the other, which one would I watch? That's how I ranked mine. And that made it so easy to rank a lot of them. Where I was like, yep, this is an easy answer. There are clear winners and losers here. And I'm sorry, Hulk, you're a loser here. I don't even know the man who originally played Hulk because it wasn't what's the dude's name?
Mark
Oh my gosh,
Ruffalo.
it feels
Mark Ruffalo.
yeah, it wasn't Mark Ruffalo. Like he's not the Hulk in those movies.
I know the guy's name, but I'm like blanking off the top of my head.
Yeah, if someone like
It's,
said,
Edward
"Hey,
Norton.
Yeah,
that
him.
movie was kind of heat.
sorry, Edward." If somebody told me that they would give me like $1 million if I could tell them the plot line of the Hulk movie, bro, I
Hulk-
still wouldn't be able to go to Disney.
Hulk mad.
No,
The
it's,
only thing I've
it's
seen,
Hulk
this is
smash.
actually this is one movie that I have seen, right? And the only thing I remember is the scene where he's like having sex and his heart rate gets too
What?
high, so he has to stop.
Yeah.
What?
Okay. Yeah.
He has to stop. He's about to get intimate,
Ooh.
and he has to stop because his little like Fitbit starts going off because his heart rate's like spiking, and he's gonna like turn into a Hulk.
Yeah,
Nice.
that did happen. I do remember that. Now that you
Yeah.
say it, I do remember that scene.
Yeah.
You know what this reminds me of? That reminds me of Joe. Remember it was like Avengers Jeopardy where they had the Avengers cast,
Yeah.
and they're like, the worst place to turn into the Hulk, and someone goes, the bedroom. And then Chris Evans is like, that's the best place. But all right, moving on. So next we got up so we had Hulk at 23 at the worst. Then we had Captain Marvel, and then next up we had at 21 Thor: The Dark World. So I've seen The Dark World.
Okay.
Here. Ashley,
Yeah.
have you seen it?
No, hold up. Right off the bat, wrong. Immediately wrong. I will defend Thor: The Dark World. That movie was good. Anyone who says it wasn't good, you're wrong. Yeah, that's fake. The Thor movies actually were all pretty good. Not just Ragnarok, despite popular opinion. They're all pretty freaking good. I love Thor: The Dark World. I've seen it a lot of times.
Ashley, I have a
actually.
list here that disagrees with you.
I don't care what the list says. This is my list now. It's my podcast, actually. Thor: The Dark World should be higher on the list. It was very good. And that is all. Move it on the list. Put it at like 10.
No,
for
I
10.
think no. It's the least
No.
memorable out of all the Thor movies.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not.
That's
That's why it's ranked so low.
No, this is a false information. In fact, I'm pretty sure I ranked Thor: The Dark World higher than I ranked Ragnarok.
What?
Like,
Insane.
Yeah.
Insane. Those were the funniest funniest movies in general I've seen in my life. I absolutely loved Thor Ragnarok.
yeah, and that's not saying that Ragnarok was bad. It's just like, if I had to choose between like if I'm doing work or something and I'm like, all right, like I need to put on a movie, like get the background noise, bro, Thor: The Dark World all day long. Easy money all day long.
But
Yeah.
You're
But
able
if
to
you
do-
like it-
yeah, if you're able to,
Yeah.
like, if I put on Avengers Endgame in the background, I'm not getting my work done because I'm watching Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
So like,
No,
if you're putting
if I
Thor:
have
The
on
Dark
a
World
movie-
on and it's in the background, that means that you're not invested enough.
Yeah, it
No,
says
no.
something.
No,
She's right.
completely
If you need to do work, like Thor: The Dark World's the best because
Oh
the
my
amount of
gosh.
rest you're gonna get after falling asleep in that movie will make you much more productive at whatever you're trying to do.
No, incorrect. Because if I'm doing work, I need something that will like give me like that reward boost, like that little drop of serotonin that I need to like, okay, I can do my work and I can have something enjoyable in the background. Thor: The Dark World.
And out of these 23 movies, you'd choose Thor: The Dark World?
No, definitely not. But I'm saying I would
Okay.
choose Thor: The Dark World before I would choose.
I think you're just proving our point, Ashley.
No, I'm saying I would choose The Dark World before I would watch Ragnarok again. I should know.
She
'cause I've done it
immediately
plenty of
started her
times.
defense of Thor: The Dark World with like, if I was doing homework or like anything other than
Yeah.
watching the movie, I would put this movie on.
Yeah,
That's
because
fine.
that's how I've watched it so many times. I think I've watched like The Dark World probably 30 times because like it's one of those movies where if I'm doing work, I'll probably put that movie on.
So it's Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
All right, so next one we got up at number 20 is Iron Man 3. Ooh. So yeah, that
Really?
one's pretty,
Yeah.
that one's ranked pretty low down there.
Terrible movie, man.
Terrible movie? I thought you were
Very bad
defending
movie.
Iron Man the other day.
Yeah, the first one. The first one's a masterpiece.
Mhm.
Everything that I think, if you look at my list, which I don't think we're gonna get into individual lists, but like a lot of my list is I do not like sequels, man. Like I want
Empire
a
Strikes Back
good
wants to have a
first
word with
movie,
you.
and I think that's fine.
Which is pretty ironic. Okay, because the next one at number 19 is Iron Man 2. So I guess everyone seemed to agree.
Once again, yeah.
Yeah, Iron
Mhm.
Man did not get very high on the list. I think it was high on Liam's list though, wasn't it?
Iron Man 3 is in the middle for me. I liked Iron Man 3. It wasn't like it was. I mean, it wasn't anything spectacular, but it had some fun little Tony Stark moments in it that I liked, and it was. I don't know. It felt. I liked the way that they kind of found a balance between it being a solo movie and still dealing with the fact that it took place after the Avengers. Like it deals with like kind of goes into him and the PTS. It kind of touches on like the PTSD and stuff he has after going through the wormhole and in New York and stuff like that, and that's why he's building all the robots. And it kind of like it's for kind of Tony Stark's arc throughout the MCU. It's kind of an interesting point because like you can see his paranoia in Iron Man 3 kind of lead to what happens in Age of Ultron and then like Civil War and stuff like that. And so I don't know. There wasn't anything in particular about it that I disliked about it, that irritated me about Iron Man 3 that any of the other Marvel movies like didn't do.
So Nathan, you've said before that you thought Iron Man is like one of the best characters in like Marvel.
Yeah.
Do you think they like handled him well in the movies, or just like you didn't like the concept of the movies, or what?
Well, I think Marvel struggles with like casting insanely good actors and then giving them like very uninspired, like generic plot lines. Like I don't remember a lot of what happened in any of the movies after Iron Man 1. I just remember there being like they'll take a really good star actor and then they'll dilute it and just throw in a bunch of other like stuff. Like just focus on Robert Downey Jr.
Wait, isn't that what they do?
No, that makes sense. No,
Yeah.
no, I feel that. Like, you know what? That does make sense. That makes a lot of sense because
Like he
that's
gets
what
a
they do.
duo, right? Like the
Yeah,
like
Like-
why?
and they do that like
next time,
especially-
baby.
Oh my gosh! Like
Yeah, I
feel like
I did feel that in
especially
like Iron Man
Nope.
2.
Sorry,
I
we
feel like
Go ahead.
especially as
Sorry, Ashley.
we're moving forward. I'm just gonna keep talking. I'm just gonna keep talking, no matter what anyone says. I feel like you especially see like the whole like they just kind of throw a whole bunch of people in movies together for no reason. Like as you get into later phases, like there's just a whole bunch of people in one movie for no reason, and you don't really learn anything about the other people, or like it doesn't allow a lot of character growth because they're trying to like showcase everyone. I
It's
guess
like we weren't done exploring Robert Downey Jr. and they're just
Yeah.
throwing in new stuff. And I think a good movie to like illustrate how this like would be done better is the Spider-Man movies. Like Far From Home goes deeper into like Peter Parker and his relationship with MJ instead of just like throwing more people in the mix.
exactly. That's why
And
I'm
that's
gonna
why
get
it's a
to it
good
later.
sequel.
Yes, and we'll get into it later. And I have very strong opinions about the Spider-Man movies, but like I rank those pretty high for that exact reason. But like I rank a lot of the Iron Man movies pretty low because I'm like I feel like Tony Stark, in my opinion, was only a good character in Avengers movies because I feel like his solo movies just didn't like allow me to see who he was, or like it just wasn't consistent with who he was in the Avengers movies. Like it was just really weird to connect those two characters, seeing him in Iron Man and then seeing him in like the Avengers movies with other people. Where it seemed like they low-key were kind of writing different characters for a lot of them. I don't know, it's just weird. Like I didn't like the Iron Man. Like literally my list is from my least favorite to my most favorite up to this point. It's like Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Iron Man 3, Iron Man 2, The Hulk, Iron Man 1. Like that is my list so far. I do not like the Iron Man movies at all. That's my soapbox.
That's rough, buddy. Poor Iron Man. But now we'll get into him later. So next one up on the list is number 18. We had Thor, the first one. So honestly, I really enjoyed that movie. Like I get why it's ranked so low, because like you don't really need the Thor movies. Like I don't think you need like Thor or the Dark World to like get into Ragnarok. You know what I mean? Like I feel like you got all like you needed of Thor's like personality in the Avengers movies, and yeah, pretty much the Avengers movie.
Yeah.
I was thinking about Loki because he also like got some of his personality in the first Avengers movie. That's what I was trying to like think of.
Yeah, I feel like honestly though, and this is also why I really like the Thor movies, is because they, like you said, like it's not for Thor, but you see a lot of Loki's personality like develop and change through the Thor movies, and I really like that. I really like Like, if you really think about it, they're kind of more Loki-centric than they are Thor-centric, because he doesn't do a lot of growth until Ragnarok. So I really like the Thor movies because, once again, Tom Hiddleston. I'm single. Please. I'm also above the age of 18. So just hit my line anytime. Let me know. Yeah.
Nathan, you didn't see Thor, did you?
I actually have seen Thor. I have seen Thor, and I think
Nice.
I ranked it like generally low because I don't remember anything about it. Like, it wasn't like horrible, but like,
It's non-memorable.
yeah, I just like it didn't stick with me or anything in the same way that like Iron Man 1, I can remember like the whole intro of Iron Man 1.
Oh, I've seen that movie so many times. I could.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just remember the fun V. What, Liam? You're gonna add on to that or no?
I don't think so.
And you got no opinions of Thor at all?
No, it's I don't know. I don't really remember much about it. I remember he fights a metal thing that shoots lasers out of its face. And then like I feel like Loki doesn't show up until like much later in the movie. I feel like because Loki sends the metal robot thing, right? I don't know. I didn't
I
feel
don't
like
think
I didn't,
any of us know.
yeah, I didn't feel like the events of Thor, other than like telling us, hey, Thor is a person. You should, hey, this guy's gonna show up later. Pay attention to him. I don't really feel like it contributed to, and I guess setting up Loki as well. But
Whoa,
like,
whoa,
I
whoa!
didn't
You're
feel like
forgetting one more essential character. It also set up Hawkeye. The most
Oh, yeah.
important.
Did
The most
it?
important. Yeah, the Hawkeye. His first movie was Thor.
I think
Are you
I remember
kidding
that
me?
actually.
Yikes.
His first
You
movie was
guys-
not the Avengers. See, like no one ever remembers
Really?
that. Yeah.
yeah,
Because
wow.
no one
Screw
ever remembers
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye.
Yeah,
Exactly.
screw Hawkeye. If there's a Hawkeye
Damn.
movie on here,
There's a
which
Hawkeye
there
TV
isn't,
show coming up.
yeah. If there's a way to put Hawkeye in the negative range, I would. I hate Hawkeye. Screw him. I hate him. That's my other soapbox for the night. Thank you.
Why all the
I
hate
don't-
for Hawkeye?
I don't feel like
I hate
Hawkeye is
him.
nearly interesting enough of a character for you to hate him that much.
I do, because that's my. Can you imagine how many amazing beings there are in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? They totally skip over, but some dude who took archery classes at the YMCA gets to be an Avenger? Are you kidding me? I'd
Hawkeye
be
does get
mad.
like kind of a weird
Yeah.
amount of screen time, all things
Yeah.
considered.
No.
And
I hate
Ashley's not
Hawkeye.
wrong at all. You know, we could have had Storm. I would have preferred Storm over Hawkeye any day.
Exactly. Literally, the
Well,
dude from
yeah,
the
they couldn't
Spider-Man
have
movies
Storm.
who
Yeah,
asked
well, that's
Spider-Man
the
to
pro.
do
That's
Yeah,
the
isn't
pro-
Storm
part of the
and-
pro-
Storm
part
is
of the
owned by Fox, right?
She was owned by Fox.
like,
She is now
Sony?
owned by Disney. But at the
Yeah.
time, she
Yeah.
was owned
There
by
we go.
Fox.
Yeah.
Replace him now. They can do it
Exactly.
They're
now.
literally in the
They can
process
do it.
of replacing him.
I hope they do.
With his
I
daughter.
want him gone.
Ugh,
I want
not that
him
interesting.
gone. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Get rid of Hawkeye. I will personally write whatever storyline I need to write to
I
get
will
him
personally
gone.
kill Hawkeye.
I would. Just to be clear, for podcast reasons, Spotify, that was not a threat on any actual living person's real life. I just really hate this fictional character.
Yeah, and you're like, what? And you're like, what do you mean? How are you gonna kill Hawkeye? I don't know, with a gun.
Exactly. He literally, all he has are arrows. Literally anyone with any weapon, any gun, someone could accidentally shoot this man and he'd just be gone. Are you? Oh my
Wait,
God.
okay.
Well,
But
you can say that about
yeah.
multiple characters.
Exactly.
I mean-
I was gonna
MCU.
say that, like, I
No.
don't think Hawkeye's problem is the fact that he does archery. I think his issue is just that he's a bland white guy who's getting too old.
That too. He's so
Whoa,
boring.
don't
What
talk
does
down
he
to us bland white
contribute?
guys. Come on. Liam and I are deeply offended.
Look, I would arguably rather have Liam and Jared in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I mean, they'd be funnier. So
Exactly.
yeah, I can get
Okay,
behind
no, no,
that.
no,
I'm
no,
only
no,
half
no, no.
bland. I'm only half
Hawkeye,
bland.
Hawkeye has that really good line in Ultron where he's like, where he's talking to Wanda. He's like, "None of this makes sense. I'm just a man with a bow." Does anyone else remember that line?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
Nope.
do remember that line. And I remember how they tried to make him likable and funny with that line. But I was like, that was the line that pissed me off. Because I was like, if you know that you're just a man with a bow, why are you here? You should
Yeah,
be
you know,
running with the pedestrians.
yeah, it really ticks me off. It really ticks me off because, like, if they would
It
just,
really
it, like,
grinds your gears.
it really grinds my gears. Like, because Hawkeye completely breaks the sound logic of everything else in Avengers and in the
He
Marvel.
does. Finally, someone
If,
says
if you,
it.
yeah, if you took out Hawkeye, everything else in the Marvel
Would make
movies would
sense.
make sense. But all the powers would be consistent and even with one another, and it makes total sense.
That's all
for
his fault.
But see,
like,
you joke, but it would like if we really think about it, what does this man have to offer? Arguably, Black Widow is
The man has a
next.
bow and arrow.
Black Widow's next. Arguably, like
I,
she's got to go too.
I think they
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
her dirty. No, I
Okay,
think they did
yeah,
her
she
dirty.
Yeah.
went all right. She went off a cliff.
Yikes!
They
yeah,
already
honestly,
got that
actually,
one. It was
Okay, I
literally
think
okay.
that-
Wait,
the
wait,
real
wait.
thing, the real thing that sucks about that is they didn't even like give her own death. They gave her like a back in time version of like Gamora's.
Yeah.
No, see, the
That's
thing
true.
is they said, which one do we get rid of? Hawkeye and Black Widow are both useless.
For
So they had a
real.
fight of them trying to get rid of each other.
Yeah, and see,
Scarlett
and that's
Johansson
why.
actually died.
Yeah,
yeah.
but see, here's
They
the
just had
thing.
them figure it out on set.
No,
They're like,
they had the
have enough
cameras
money.
rolling and they just decided to go with it.
Look, and this is why I rank like Black Widow over Hawkeye for like which one is slightly more useful, because at least she won the fight where she had to be like, I know both of us are useful, but who's going to fight harder to prove that we're most useless, I guess? And she won the fight. She won the I'm more useless fight. So that means she's stronger than him. Imagine you're both fighting to be like, okay, both of us shouldn't be on the team, but who should be not on the team more? And you're so bad at fighting that you lose. Hawkeye's got to go. He's got to go immediately. End of podcast. Thank you,
End of
Castles and
podcast. We're
Company.
number 18 out of 20. We're like the fifth one here. This was Thor we were talking about. There isn't even a Hawkeye movie.
You shouldn't have reminded me that Hawkeye was in Thor. I hate that man.
Thor?
Hate that man.
I'm just kidding. All right, next one, number 17, Ant-Man and the Wasp, which is kind of
What?
funny that that's lower than Ant-Man, but
Really?
I really liked Ant-Man and the Wasp. I don't know, does anyone here like strongly disagree with that?
Yeah, I didn't really like Ant-Man and the Wasp. It was kind of, I don't know.
Oh no, it seems Liam's mic is turned off. We can't hear him anymore.
The whole thing felt like super, like Marvel movies are like, part of what makes Marvel movies fun is like how kind of like tongue in cheek and silly they are, but I don't remember like specifics of it. But I felt like throughout the movie it just felt very like let's
Yes, use your words. You got this. You got this.
like I'm trying to find a nice way of like saying like it's no it's the it felt like the actors felt like they were all kind of like phoning it in. The plot felt very like standard, and also because it came out like after, was it after Infinity War or after Endgame?
Infinity War.
Yeah, and for a movie that was like coming out after Infinity War, it and like even if they were like, okay, we don't want to spoil Infinity War, so we're not gonna make it take place after Infinity War because they have to like make them at around the same time. Still, like them knowing it was going to come after Infinity War, it it felt like they just rather than continuing, rather than like contributing to the story that they already have all of these characters like so
Wait, where are
like
you going with this?
Yeah.
No, I
It-
feel
it-
it.
it-
No, I feel it.
it
No,
didn't like
no.
contribute. They added in all these new characters that you're
Okay,
really
like I'll
not
give
going
it
to
to
see
you.
again.
Yeah, you're never gonna.
Like
Have we seen that ghost person? Is she gonna be in the next Ant-Man? Like, you kind of just.
I
Okay,
don't think so.
okay. I feel where I feel what Liam's saying. Like,
like
I
yeah.
expected something different for the first movie to come out after like how amazing like Infinity War was, and it just wasn't it. Like, I feel like my one main gripe with Ant-Man and the Wasp wasn't like, oh, it was a bad movie or anything. It was just like it just wasn't memorable in comparison to where they put it like in the timeline. Like, it just didn't make sense for that movie to come out when it did because it just wasn't like special in comparison.
No, that's
Like,
what.
it
Okay,
was just
but
like
to be
whatever.
honest, they
Yeah,
kind of
well,
did that too with Spider-Man because Spider-Man is the what is it? Far From Home. That's the final movie in the MCU. Like that came after
No, but see,
Endgame.
no,
Yeah,
no,
It's
no,
like
that's-
why
no, no.
why would you do that?
It's
Like
not the
Endgame should
same
be
with
like the final
Spider-Man.
thing.
No,
that's
Yes,
it's
kinda-
Ashley, I
not.
know you love Spider-Man.
And I will defend it. When we get to Spider-Man, I'll defend why that was a perfect movie to end on.
I'll say I think I also put I didn't put Far From Home super low, but I think I put it lower than most people here, kind of for a similar reason, where it was like they introduced all this crazy magic like universe scale stuff
Yeah, I
uh,
definitely feel that.
with Endgame, in and then in Far From Home they like tease a little bit with the multiverse stuff, but then they are like, psych, it's actually a dude that like does some really cool CGI, and it's just kind of another
Kevin
villain of the
Feige?
week.
Yeah.
But they just kind of they just kind of gave they just gave Spider-Man like another villain of the week that's just another guy that's pissed off at like the Avengers from some past thing and from some like brief cursory thing in a past Avengers movie that like, oh man,
His whole villain origin story was literally like, wow, Tony discredited me once.
Oh my! But see, look
which is
what
the
I
same as
will
like the guy
defend
from
this
Iron Man
movie.
3.
No, it wasn't.
No, it's
I will
not.
defend
This is
movie.
this is a good
No.
time to say
No.
Marvel has terrible villains. I
Yo,
think like
Agreed.
a good
have-
like
okay,
literally so
no.
much of the reason why Marvel movies are bad at some like not saying like Marvel movies in general are bad. Like when they're bad, I feel like it's largely because the villains are so non-memorable that if like
Have you noticed the villains always have very similar powers to the hero? Like you literally in Black Panther, the enemy is another Black Panther. In Ant-Man, it's like
Yeah, but
another
that makes
Ant-Man.
sense.
Like in Iron
Yeah,
Man,
well,
it's
that's
like
so
he's fighting an
uninspired.
iron
that's the thing
suit.
since
dude, and the crazy thing
Yeah.
is like those are the cooler ones. Like what is the villain from Far From Home? Like what was that?
What do you mean?
It's
Wait, okay,
Mysterio.
okay.
Mysterio?
Look,
I know that's what I'm
Can
saying.
we-
Like
no,
the
okay,
way
we
they
need to
did him
get
was terrible.
to wherever
What?
Far From Home is on the list. We need to get.
Yeah, all right,
speed
we'll
Yeah.
get there. So
How many
we'll
so
get
that
there
I can
later.
defend this movie?
Okay,
Please.
so next up, we'll make our way there. Which, just to say this, the Spider-Mans are like at the top, so it's gonna be a while. But
Good.
Ashla's like perfect, right where they belong.
They should be at the top. Yes.
Next up, Ultron, number 16. So Avengers.
Okay,
Age
back
of
to
Ultron.
Hawkeye. Real quick. No, back to Hawkeye. All right, now that we're here,
Really?
let me just say this is what I mean by Hawkeye. That would have been the perfect place to kill Hawkeye off at. Why did they kill off Quicksilver there? Are you kidding me?
He wasn't
Are
quick
you
enough.
like but see, this is what I mean. Quicksilver's
well-
character in the in the hour that he was in the Marvel Cinematic Universe was a more enjoyable character than Hawkeye had been in his entire time there.
hard disagree. Hard disagree.
No,
Look,
no,
I'm no-
Quicksilver,
I'm no
literally the
Hawkeye fan, but
dynamic.
Quicksilver
No,
was
And
not
Bone.
was barely a character. I
No,
He
don't
was there to be.
remember-
He's there to be a plot development for Wanda, so that Wanda can achieve her best
Yeah.
self. That's why I
He
saw.
was there to
Yeah.
not be as good as the X
Unfortunately.
version. That was his purpose.
No, like
That's true.
literally,
I could get behind that, Liam.
no, like I get it. I get that he was there for character development for Wanda. But the thing is, he was so good at what he did of being like that brother figure who was kind of like, because you could see that like even though Wanda was really unsure of everything, she was like the decision maker for their dynamic. And Quicksilver's character was always like, you know what, I'm going to do whatever like is in the best interest of my sister and whatever she wants to do. And that made him like so likable because neither of them were ever really like villains, but they weren't like heroes. They were like in that gray zone for
They,
a
like,
while, and he
weren't
just
anything.
played it.
Nothing can
They
stop
played
us if
it
we got
so
family.
well. But see, and usually Fast and the Furious, that's pretty cheesy, but they made it work. They made it work so well. I loved Quicksilver's character. I loved MCU Quicksilver, and man, screw Hawkeye.
Wait,
Jared,
do you mean
if
do you
I
mean
tell
Ralph
you,
Boner? I don't know who
oh
Quicksilver.
my
All I
gosh,
know is Ralph
Jared,
Boner.
if I tell you that, I'm going to like, I need you to censor the next sentence I'm about to say. So I'll say it slowly so then you can like censor it well. I'll put the spaces and everything.
Captain America has
okay?
now joined the chat. Continue.
Fuck Hawkeye. I hate that man. I hate him so much. So
Oh.
much.
Oh,
Just
okay.
give me Quicksilver.
Now
Just give me Quicksilver. Give me like a Marvel short with Quicksilver. Please. Okay, end of
On
rant.
to the next.
Maybe
Age
he'll
of
show
Wait,
up-
does
Ultron.
anyone
Maybe he'll
have
show
any
up in the
comments
Black
on
Widow
that?
movie.
So enough about Hawkeye. Does anyone actually have any real comments about Age of Ultron?
I think it's a perfect example of generic villains that are boring and like uninspired.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Like,
I
what
agree.
is that? Who wrote that, dude? It's literally like some middle school kids like creative writing project. Like, ooh, like bad AI like become like takes over the world. Like, who? No one cares, man. Like,
Yeah, or at the I mean, you can do that in an interesting way, but they just
Yeah.
they just made it a bunch of CGI robots with a
Yeah.
And that's the
with,
thing
like-
too. Oh, keep going, Liam.
well, yeah, and then they made the lead robot like kind of just human like enough to be annoying.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like,
I'm gonna cut in. So here's the thing: who
Alright,
here watched Avengers: Age of Ultron in theaters?
I did.
You
I
did?
did.
Wait,
Yep.
really? I don't even
Yeah.
like remember this coming out in theaters. Like I remember seeing the first Avengers in theaters, and then I saw Infinity War and Endgame in theaters. Like I didn't even like see this movie until like Infinity War came around.
I get what you're saying, Jared.
Like I
Same.
feel like it just went under everyone's radars. Like I feel like it's just so unmemorable
'Cause
as
it's
a
Dookie,
as a
man.
movie.
Mm-mm. No, okay, I feel like my one issue, which goes to the whole unmemorable villain thing, is like if he was supposed to be like the smartest AI and was like, oh, I'm gonna like build this thing around the world, then in theory he shouldn't have been defeated. Like if he has access to literally all of the knowledge on Earth, why was he defeated by the Avengers?
I think their
It doesn't make
excuse was
sense.
like Jarvis was a part of him, and Jarvis was like holding him back from like launching the nukes, which I didn't think was a very good. I mean, of course,
Yeah,
all these
I think
movies
it was
have
just kinda
plot
like, eh.
holes, but like it was just a very cheap plot hole. Like you said, he should have been
Exactly.
more powerful.
Yeah. I think okay. I don't think my issue with this movie is Ultron or like this like whole AI takes over the world thing, because that's like one of the most well-known canon stories from the comics. And I think Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the Avengers animation series, did it a lot better. So I think the issue here is execution.
Fair.
Agreed.
I
Fair enough.
felt like I don't know much from like the comics or the animated series. Is Ultron like supposed to be funny in the
No, no, I don't know. I don't
Robot, right?
think
'Cause
so
he's-
either. He's literally, yeah,
He's like part Tony Stark or whatever in the movie.
Yeah, because I remember in the trailer they show the bit where they have the broken Ultron guy, and he's
Yeah.
like, and he's like saying like super ominous stuff, is like, there are no strings on me, and I'm like, oh hey, if that could be an interesting like creepy robot villain if they did it right. But
Pinocchio.
I just want to add that that scene where they're like trying to lift up the hammer, because that's the same scene, right? That same
Yeah,
point. That's like one of the best scenes I think from the MCU, is when they're all
True.
trying to lift the hammer.
yeah, that is, I did like that about Age of Ultron, that they had Age of Ultron had a few scenes that were like that.
What, like when they're all
Just-
fighting the robots, like I thought they had a lot of like iconic scenes.
Yeah, well, it was. I liked more the stuff like the hammer scene, or when they were all kind of just hanging out and like bonding as a group, like there, and then at Hawkeye's house. I know. The-
terrible.
but like, I liked having somewhat of a sense of what the Avengers are like when they're not like in a shield meeting room or in the middle of a CGI army.
Yeah,
It was,
that's
it was
fair.
it was nice seeing like parts like the like the Earth that they're trying to protect. Because in the Avengers movies, they're it's everything's so crazy, and you have all these really like out there characters. It kind of, when you start to have stuff like, oh man, Sokovia is going to smash into the Earth and it's all going to blow up. It's like, I don't really know much. I don't really know much about this world. It can't really be the exact same as our world because there's way
Dude,
crazier
you could have
shit
told me
going on.
Sokovia was a real place, and I would have believed them. Honestly,
Yeah, lucky. And also, do you want? Okay, yes, really quick, before we like go to another
Yeah,
movie
we
ranking.
still have a
But
lot
Guys,
of
we
these,
gotta
so
get
have-
going.
like,
Yeah, we
yeah, I
have
know,
a lot
I
of
know.
these, so we're
Really
gonna have
quick,
to
this is
speed
like
round.
literally
We're gonna
the
speed
last
round
thing.
like the next 5.
Yes, this is literally the last thing. I just really do. I think it's so messed up that like it's true. The Avengers do like wreck so many places, and they just kind of leave. Like I think that is the one thing that Age of Ultron did start setting up well, was the fact of like the Avengers weren't this like perfect hero group, and it was like dang, like they really do kind of cause as much destruction as they save, I guess. So I did kind of like that aspect of how they tied in that part of Age of Ultron to other Avengers sequels. Okay, next movie.
So yeah, we're gonna. Okay, we can't go too fast because I know Ashla's gonna have a lot to say about 14. But we have number 15 is Ant-Man. So I think we all gotta. Does anyone have any like huge disagreement with that one being like
Ant-Man,
middle of the road?
meh. Paul Rudd, good.
Yeah, like I think everyone agrees with like Ant-Man and the Wasp, like good movies, but just not like top tier. And then we've got number 14, Black Panther. So this was
Yeah.
What?
wrong for
Why is
that
this so
Who
low?
put it low? Which one y'all put it low?
Yeah, who did that?
I
Who-
actually redid my
who?
list to put it higher because I was like, after doing it, I was like, I don't think it should be this low.
It's a good movie, you guys. It's one of the only MCU movies that I actually enjoy.
Yup. I literally cried like in the theaters after seeing it. I stood up, I clapped, I cried. It was amazing, fantastic, loved it. R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman. I don't know how they're gonna keep doing Black Panther without him. Amazing movie. Whoever put it low, you're wrong.
Nathan put it low. Nathan put it 17.
I put it low, but I haven't seen it. So
What? You need to watch it. That's it. You need to watch it.
Shri
I'll take
actually,
your recommendation.
Shri put Black Panther at number 3. Shri's from our Star Warlords podcast.
Good.
Yes.
As he should.
Mhm.
Black Panther was amazing. Jared, I disagree where you're like, oh, the heroes that are like exactly the same as the
No,
villains is
no,
not
I didn't
good.
say that was bad.
It works. Oh,
Like
okay.
it works, but I'm just saying it's just like it's a very funny and interesting thing how like Marvel like they find a like this works, so we're gonna like keep redoing it. I mean, of course, it's always like
Yeah.
a little different. It's just I think it's very like funny and comical that it's like you're fighting someone with like the exact same thing.
Well, see,
Yeah,
here's what I'll say,
well-
right? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, you can go.
Okay, so the main thing that goes with that is that it's not just like, oh, this person has the same power as you. They're the polar opposite of the hero, right? So like it works really well in Black Panther, but I'll say like it wasn't the best in the original Ant-Man because it was Paul Rudd, Ant-Man, he's like the dude who just came out of prison, and his villain is this head CEO of a corporation who like steals the technology, right? It works so well for the storyline of Black Panther because Killmonger was like an actual Wakandan who was taken out of Wakanda. And then of course you have King T'Challa who like
it's not just
he
some
is the
weird
Black Panther.
coincidence.
Exactly.
No.
Like it's not
exactly.
like it all ties back together of like it makes sense why Killmonger went back to Wakanda and wanted to like have those powers because he should have, because he was really related to Black Panther. Like he was actually in line for the throne. So that in that sense, it makes so much sense why like the villain and the hero have pretty much the exact same powers. But I do agree, like Marvel could switch it up and they could do it differently for other heroes and villains, because it does make it not as memorable. And it's kind of like, okay, like that's a whack villain. Also, I like how Killmonger wasn't goofy. They didn't try to make him like some goofy, funny, quippy, witty villain. Like he was like a villain who was evil, and I like that.
Yeah, I liked all this. I really liked Killmonger, and I liked all the stuff with Killmonger. I agree that like it's, I think one of the times in the Marvel movies that like them having the same powers like not only makes sense but like makes it better. But I wish they still had done something a little more interesting for the finale though, other than just having two people with the same powers like fist fight each other, like they like they did with Iron Man and Ant-Man and Doctor Strange and
Yeah, at least like with Ant-Man, like the was it the Bumblebee guy had like lasers on his suit or something?
Yeah, but it was like I don't know. Like it makes sense. I compare. Nope, really quick. Another reference. I compared the Black Panther Killmonger fight a lot to the last Agni Kai from Avatar: The Last Airbender. I think that's why I love that scene so much. And even though the CI train was terrible, awful, I love Black Panther.
I actually kind of like
should
that.
be number one.
Also, I really like the style of everything in Wakanda, like the like the blend of like kind of futuristic and like kind of African culture kind of blended together with all this vibranium, with all this like vibranium everywhere. It's really
it's honestly a tragedy because I really liked the movie and I would have loved for them to keep doing it with Chadwick, and it's like I don't know how they're gonna implement it, and hopefully they keep it interesting. But all right, next one we got. So like we don't want to take too long for all these, but number 13, The Avengers. We'll just do this. Do y'all think this should have been higher or lower? I feel like it's I ranked it higher. I really enjoyed the first Avengers movie.
Lower.
It's meh. It should. I would say lower, but like I could see it in the middle. It's just saying.
Yeah, in middle.
Ashley's like it's got too much Hawkeye. Number 12, we've got Doctor Strange. So I felt like this one was slept on a lot.
I know a lot of people like that movie. I haven't seen it.
I feel like you got to see it if you're gonna watch the Multiverse of Madness coming up.
Definitely.
Yeah. Any comments, anyone?
Honestly, for me, like I think the visuals for the magic, particularly the what was it, the
Dark Dimension?
The Dark Dimension, or whatever the like limbo, the thing that was in the trailers where it, like the
mirror
the mirror dimension or whatever it's called. I thought the way they did that was really cool. But I felt like it kind of was, it's another, like other than that, it's kind of another stale like solo Marvel movie.
The thing I liked about it though was that it was kind of like Iron Man. You know how like Iron Man was like hurt from his he was hurt from the explosion he was in. Y'all know what I'm talking about? And then like his path to healing. It was like also Doctor Strange, like he was in that car crash and it was his path to like finding some way to continue on, like, and how he like gets back to health or whatever. So I thought it was very similar to like Iron Man, or what is it, Tony Stark, like Benedict Cumberbatch. What is Stephen Strange? Is it Stephen or Stephen?
Yeah, but that's the thing, is that it's like the same, it's the same like character arc as Iron Man, except like Stephen Strange is not as just entertaining as Tony Stark is.
Yeah, plus my other issue with it is like it made sense for Iron Man to like become Iron Man in one movie, I guess. But I recently rewatched Doctor Strange actually, and like the pacing was just weird. Like it was weird for him to go from like being a doctor who then got into an accident, who was then like, suddenly I'm a magician. Like, how did you do that so quick?
I
Like
mean,
if you
he's like
watch
he's
the
if you
pacing,
watch like what
it's
is
just
it,
kind of odd.
Infinity War, like the Sorcerer Supreme's like, oh, he's destined to be the best of us. He's kind of like the chosen one for Sorcerer Supreme.
I feel like it's
So
so cheesy. Like
Yeah,
he
but
was just all of a sudden good at sorcery really quick. Also, really quick, this is
all
my
right, last
last comment
comment,
on
and
it.
then we're moving on to the next one.
My other gripe with the movie is the one other sorcerer dude. I don't know what his name is. I'm just gonna call him the Black
Wong.
Sorcerer, and I can
Oh,
say that because I'm black. But the one dude, like
the
he
guy,
was
the actor with
literally.
the crazy name,
I don't know
Shuatel
what his name
Ejiofor.
was. Maybe. But he was like a good guy for the entirety of the movie, and then all of a sudden at the end, he's just like, I'm evil now. Like that didn't make sense to me. It literally
Well,
made no sense. He was like telling Steven like how bad it was for other people to be like, yeah, like you shouldn't use your magic irresponsibly, but also like we need to follow the Sorcerer Supreme and it's a good thing and we should defend the Sorcerer Supreme and stuff. And then all of a sudden he's like evil for no reason.
well,
It was
hopefully,
dumb.
Yeah.
yeah,
What-
hopefully they
what's-
develop. Liam, I'm cutting you off because we got to move on. But hopefully they
That's because they
develop
did it in
that.
Iron Man.
True. Hopefully they develop that
Okay.
in the next movie. Hopefully there's time for that. Number 11. This one is ranked way too low. Infinity War is number 11.
No, I agree with that.
No.
Nope, agreed.
Lower.
No, it should be.
Lower.
That was one of the
Lower.
top Disney or one of the top.
No.
MCU
Look.
movies.
No, if Infinity War or Endgame are anywhere near your top 10, I cannot trust you.
Agreed.
Wait, you don't
Cannot.
put Endgame anywhere
Gwyneth
near the
has
top 10?
taste.
No, dude, no. They were
You're
bad.
wrong.
They were
You're-
not good movies. They look. They
What?
they had good action, but like plot wise, villain wise, it was not there, man. It was not developed well. It was not written well. Okay. No,
Thank
look.
you.
It's
Yeah.
I mean, it's
You're
It's too
telling
much,
me,
man.
You're telling me wise Gamora? Come on, like these comedy gold of movies right there.
Yeah, but that's not why I like a movie. When I'm talking about if a movie is good, I'm talking about the way that it's filmed, the character development, the plot development, and Thanos as a villain. I don't think he's that great, you know?
Agree.
Like he's
Yep.
really not. And like he's almost the like Marvel equivalent of Darkseid, and I feel like Darkseid is always done so much better, except for in the live action one. Okay, don't talk about that one. But it's just like not at the same level.
honestly, I disagree. I think like the difference between like I feel like Thanos does a good job of playing the villain that like all the Guardians 1 villain, like Ronan the
Okay,
Accuser.
I didn't like the Guardians 1 villain, but
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
I thought Thanos
Yeah,
was
like
an actual
the-
unique villain who was like at the
Yeah.
end of the movie of what Infinity War, he kind of just goes to like his planet and he's like, all right, I'm done. Like he's finished his goal. He doesn't mind dying.
Like,
He didn't have like
No,
power
like, I like
aspirations
that.
or anything. You know what I mean? Like he was an actual unique
Yeah.
villain in the Marvel universe.
See,
Yeah,
I like
and I-
that part where he's like, I'm so sorry, I gotta say this because I thought it was so funny. But I like that he's like, oh, my goal's done. I literally read something where someone was like, they were looking at the Disney park and everything, and you know how the Pym particle, like, it makes the pretzels and stuff bigger? Sorry,
Yes, we know
spoiler.
you love the
Um,
spoiler.
Okay, no, someone was literally like, yo, if Thanos' issue was that there wasn't enough like food and resources for people, why didn't he just use the Pym particle on everything?
Yeah, the thing
Like-
that well when you get into the science of the Ant-Man stuff, it starts to not make a whole lot of sense. Like when he becomes smaller, he's still
Still able
as
to
strong
breathe.
as, well no, when he's smaller, he's still as strong as a like his normal human size. But then for some
It's
reason
so-
but then for some reason when he grows
Right.
big, he becomes super strong.
Okay, but see, which is where it makes sense, right? If Thanos had used the Stone to be like, I'm gonna make more Pym particles, or like I'm gonna use the Infinity Stones and they're gonna make Pym particles
Or just
like
make
come
more
from my
food.
fingers or whatever, right? He could have used it to make food larger and it would still have the same nutritional value. And he could have just made really large food. He could have made a lot of natural resources. He could have done anything. He was just, I don't know. I just think it's dumb that his thing was like, I'm gonna take out half of the life everywhere,
Well,
and that's my
it's
mission.
the thing
It's
I
just
liked
weird.
about Thanos that I feel like the like other kind of like bland alien take over the world kind of villains do is I really got the sense from Thanos he that he had the ego to like he saw himself as I felt like he was a more realistic portrayal of someone who feels like they're like a religious like
Zealot.
yeah, like almost like a cult leader. He's like, I'm the savior for this universe. It is down to me. It's my burden that I have to do this. Because he doesn't say like I'm gonna do this because I want to and because the universe deserves. He's like anytime people are like that's insane, you can't do that. He's like, you just don't understand because you're not the chosen one. You're
Which
Well,
is true.
Liam, let me tell you something. Maybe you should watch some Vandal Savage and Dark Side animation movies or televisions. Young Justice, it's a great start. Someone back me up, please.
I haven't watched it. I'm
I've
so
never
sorry.
Oh
I
my
trust you, though.
god!
I
I don't
trust you.
doubt it. It's just
You
Yeah,
have me
I
convinced.
I haven't seen a lot of the animated like DC stuff.
Time to start,
seen
everybody.
Batman Begins. Beautiful.
Oof.
Number 10. We're now in the top 10 for the movies. We spent way too long talking about Thor and Hawkeye.
Screw Hawkeye.
Wait, Jared, what do you mean? We're just trying to get through 5 different people's opinions on 23 different movies.
What could possibly go wrong?
You mean 4 people's incorrect opinions and 1 person's
Yeah, my
correct?
one correct opinion.
Ah, yes. No. Okay, so number 10. We have Guardians 2. So
It should have been lower. I hate the Guardians movies.
I think
I hate 'em.
Guardians.
You hate the Guardians movies?
I hate the Guardian movies. The only good
It's
character in the well, okay, I won't say the only. The good characters in the Guardians movies aren't the main characters. Like, I'm gonna keep it a buck. No, none of the main characters. Even Groot, I'm sorry.
Baby Groot?
I'm sorry.
Come
Groot.
How
on.
dare
Baby
you.
Groot was
How
in the
dare
Guardians
you. Sorry.
2.
Well, who
It's
do you
made the
consider
movie.
the main
It's just
characters? 'Cause,
cheesy.
like, there's a squad
Okay,
of them.
literally,
Like, they're a main character
Star-Lord,
entity.
Gamora, Rocket, Drax has some funny lines, I'll give him that. And Groot, main characters, not good. Not good at all. I don't like how they wrote the empath alien, I forget her name. I don't like how they wrote her. Like, she's actually more
Mantis.
powerful. Yeah, Mantis is more
Yeah.
powerful than they actually made her in the movies.
Yeah.
The best character in Guardians of the Galaxy is Yondu. Best
Oh,
character.
period.
Oh my gosh.
Yes,
Like,
period.
King amongst men. If Guardians of the Galaxy was about him, bro, it'd be number 1 all day long. But it's not. I hate Guardians of the Galaxy movies. They're bad. They're trash. Terrible. They try to do a thing where like, oh, haha, funny Marvel movie. Nope, didn't come to see that. Didn't ask for it. Take it back.
I enjoy
Wow.
Guardians 2. Guardians 2 was
Wait,
great.
I came to Guardians of the Galaxy and they gave me a Marvel movie. What is this madness?
Also, do you know what? I have a personal gripe with it. Star-Lord is from Missouri. I hate Missouri. Okay, next movie.
You
You
hear
know-
that, Missouri?
I mean, honestly, I hate most people from Missouri, so it kind of makes sense.
You know? So do I, Jared.
Yikes.
Any last comments about Guardians 2? So Guardians 1 is still coming up, so we can discuss a little bit more Guardians in a minute. But any last comments about 2?
Nah.
Nah? Alright. So then we got number 9, Civil War. Captain America Civil War. So I thought this
Should have
was...
been lower.
I think this
Lower.
was right about where it should have been.
No,
Yeah, I think it's
this is a bad movie.
fun little, like, okay, yeah, like,
Ugh.
if you were to read, I feel like the reason it's this high is just because it's like recent, but like, if it was,
Recent.
I mean, it's relatively like compared to some of the stuff on this list.
Compared to
Yeah,
Hulk
well, I mean,
2008.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, I can
mean,
see it being like lost to the sands of time and like not being that memorable, but like there was some fun stuff, you know, like we got to see MCU Spider-Man for the first time, and I liked it.
That's what I'm saying. That you got to see Black Panther for the first time.
Yeah, we got to see a lot of people clash in like for the first time, like in interesting ways, like that had never interacted before. It was like a fun little summer flick, you know?
Yeah.
No.
My name's
I wish
My name's Clint. I don't care.
You know what? I will strongly agree. I will say it was a fun little summer flick.
I think it's maybe a
like
bit
that.
too high, but like, yeah, it's a fun movie.
I think it was more fun. I think it's I think that the novel it's a little less kind of like when it came out, it was I think it was
fully,
like big and
yes.
crazy. God damn it. Like I think it's kind of like you were saying, it kind of it's faded a little bit over time because like when it came out, it was crazy seeing like all the like because it's kind of even though it's a Captain America movie, it's kind of an Avengers movie. It was it was crazy seeing all these characters that had been set up in the previous movies, but because they kind of like they kind of like pulled their punches a little, like kind of half fought each other after like Infinity War and Endgame.
Tell that to Rhodey or whatever, didn't he?
Ooh, yikes.
Man fell from
That was
low
unnecessary.
orbit.
It was such an unnecessary conflict.
Yeah, well, or at the very least, they should have. If they were going to have the conflict happen, they should have. I didn't feel like there were a lot of lasting consequences. Like I felt like if you, at least in terms of the like the dynamic between all the Avengers. Like there was like the Civil War was pitched as being like there's a major rift in the saviors of the planet. Like what's going to happen?
Yeah, it's true.
Like,
I agree
and
with
they're
that.
just like fine.
It was really like it was like it capitalized on the novelty of like it being the first time we saw a bunch of these people together, but then it was just novelty. Like we watched Cap and like Iron Man beat the crap out of each other, and then like it just kind of that was it. Like,
All right, here.
Yeah.
I'm a force. So everyone say something nice about the movie. There, go. When it starts.
Tom Holland.
No. I can't start. This is my least favorite Captain America movie. It ruined the Captain America trilogy. That's my nice thing. There.
I liked Tom Holland. Tom Holland was great. There we go.
I will say my piece now. For how little screen time Tom Holland had, absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
You could see just from the like scenes he had in that movie, like this is Spider-Man.
Agreed. He's a great Spider-Man. My one nice thing that I will say about the movie, besides the fact they had Tom Holland and the Black Panther and the Winter Soldier, my husband, in the movie, that one scene where freaking Bucky is on the motorcycle. No, he's like running and he steals the guy's motorcycle and does like the flip and he lands. Mwah, cinematic masterpiece. I love that scene. I've seen it so many times. It continually pops up in my YouTube recommendations. Love it.
Yeah. I'll say
last comment, Liam, go.
Yeah, for me, Civil War is one of my favorite movies that is just you kind of turn your brain off on like the story aspect of it and just enjoy a super high budget action movie.
Well said.
Yeah.
And if you watch it like that, it's a super fun movie.
Well said.
If you think about
Agreed.
Then again, you can say the same thing about a lot of the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
But that one really takes the cake.
Which brings us to our next Marvel movie, number 8, the first Avenger, Captain America as well. So we got 2 Captain America movies in a row here.
This is too low.
I liked the intro a lot. I watched this one time a long time ago, and I still remember the
RJ, but when he's like running shirtless or whatever with like
all of it, it's like quite long. It was like there's the carnival stuff. Oh, we have
his double date with Bucky.
Yeah, the double date, and then like just seeing him like navigate the like carnival, and then just like I don't know, it was nice. I'm a sucker for good like intro set pieces in these like franchises that seem to drag on way longer than
Mhm.
they should, where we see like 6 movies of the same Cap, I like to see that little treat of like we get
Mm.
to see like Peter Parker in his high school or like Cap on a double date, you know? It's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also liked the way that they kind of broke the like the classic kind of comic book vision of Captain America of being like kind of a bit like the Marvel Superman counterpart where he's like very like uh like very patriotic and do it and like always follows orders and things like that. And he's still patriotic, but
He's good.
they
It's
do
because he believes in
they
America at the time. Like he believes
yeah,
in the
but it's
mission, but as soon as like the
but
mission
it's interesting
defers,
him being he has to be patriotic by like going against the government and shield, which was
Actually, in the
Hey, wait, wait.
comics, that's actually. Oh, sorry. Go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say we're gonna get to Winter Soldier later, so I was gonna say don't talk about Winter Soldier yet.
Oh no, I was gonna
Oh,
say
I
in the
think
comics that
sorry, I think I misheard.
no, it's okay. I was just gonna say in the comics, it's actually pretty often that he like goes against the government. He's like the most anti-government hero out there. So
Yeah.
the more you know, yeah.
Just like
So
that
it's
one
not that
time he says,
different.
remember that one time in the comics where he goes "Hail Hydra"? Yeah, he's very anti-government.
Do you know what? I
Okay,
really-
that was a different thing, Jared.
Oh
And you
my
know it.
gosh.
No, there's
I
a
think-
comic where he does do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
I
thinking
think
more of like
Yeah,
the
but it's a different
came out in World War
situation.
II.
It's a joke. Don't get so.
oh
heated.
my goodness. Okay, just really quick. I think the thing that I like the most about this movie is that like the villain feels very in place, or at least how they wrote Red Skull feels very in place for the time. Like he was kind of the first villain that kind of set everything off. And it was like none of the villains were like, oh, do you know what? I want world domination. Well, he did want world domination, but like I want universal domination, like galactic domination, because like I don't know, like he wasn't really focused on that, I guess. Like he was like, I just want to be evil. I really like that. I like villains who are just evil to be evil. And that's kind of what
There's
he
another
was.
example. He's
And I was
another
like, that's
example
good.
of the not that it's a problem, but like, oh, he's a super soldier. Captain America's a super soldier. But like you said, there's the polar opposites. Like Captain America was
Yeah,
a good
but, like-
man. And so therefore he became more good.
I don't think that Red Skull, like, I ever really thought of him like, oh, he's a a super soldier, and so is Captain America. I never really thought of him like that. I was like, he's an evil dude who's just evil
Yeah,
to be
I
evil.
agree with Ashley.
I really like
We got
that.
a real Cruella DeVille over here.
No, don't compare the two.
She's misunderstood, Jared. You don't understand.
Stop!
It's okay. She
No!
wanted to skin those puppies because
Oh my god.
she's just
Leo!
Red
It's-
Skull
it's-
just skinned his face.
you know it's yeah it's actually kind of badass the way she's a fashion designer that wants to skin puppies.
Oh my god.
No.
Sorry, that was a preview into the Cruella review.
All right, so we're gonna move on to number 7, Guardians. So Guardians Volume 1.
Should be lower.
I also agreed. I put
lower.
Guardians near like the bottom. I did.
Really?
I did
Yeah.
not care too much.
What?
I really liked the second Guardians. I think it was like number 5 on my list, but like there's something high up there. But Guardians 1, I felt like wasn't that interesting. And then like was it
Yeah.
the villain? I didn't care for the villain.
Exactly.
I-
And plus, like, they literally defeated the villain through the power of friendship and
It's better than the
something
power
that you
of
learn in
family.
the second movie.
Okay,
No.
okay.
Oh my
Here's
God.
my thing, right? None of these movies, like sorry to break it to you, but like we're comparing these movies against all other Marvel movies. Like none of these movies have amazing like plots or like writing.
They
But,
look
like,
good. They look good, and
Yeah, like they're made to look good and
Yeah.
be fun, like summer. You know, like and Guardians, I think is like one of the best franchises at that. Like the atmosphere in Guardians,
Agreed.
super fun. Really like
plus amazing
like,
soundtrack.
good production. Yeah, amazing soundtrack.
Yeah.
Like great characters, likable characters. Like that's what I watch Marvel movies for. You know, not like an intricate, like well-developed plot line or like interesting
I-
villains.
I feel like that's what made me not like it though, is that they set up like they world built really well. The characters were designed really well. In theory, on paper, Guardians of the Galaxy should have been like a fantastic movie to anyone who watched it. But then like you combine all of the quirky characters together and it kind of just gets annoying. It was like who could outquip each other in every single scene. It was just like it just didn't really work, I guess. It was just weird.
What was that line at
I
the
had
end
that
that
issue in the
Rocket
second
says,
movie.
like in the little powwow?
Is it
I
The
like
Rock?
that line.
The
No,
Rock.
the Rocket. The line that Rocket says in the little like
Okay.
huddle at the end, I forgot what it is. That's one of my
I don't
favorite
know.
lines. It's like
I think
the
I've seen
If
ultimate
it's your
Guardians.
favorite line, why don't you know
Yeah,
it?
exactly.
Yeah.
I think I've seen Guardians like once. I don't even think I've seen the movie twice, to be honest.
I'll find
Exactly.
it. I'll find
Right.
it in the background while we're chatting.
I think it might also depend on like when you saw Guardians, because like part of what I liked about Guardians was it like I think it came out like after the first Avengers movie, and they're like, okay, I know you just saw this crazy thing where for the first time ever, all of these like super famous like comic book characters have come together and like this crazy like box office shattering movie. Now we're gonna make a weird sci-fi movie with a bunch of characters that you don't like anyone who hasn't seen like super kind of niche Marvel comics. You won't know any of these characters.
Did someone
and we're
say the
gonna make-
Eternals?
Oh my gosh.
and we're gonna make you like them.
That might be why I liked it though. I think like maybe a theme here is that I'm biased against these like rehashing of the same stories. Like I would just like a fresh like here's a new thing.
Yeah, and it was like because Guardians of the Galaxy, just for anyone listening, I've seen a lot of the Marvel movies in theater, like pretty much around the same week of when they first come out. And like Guardians of the Galaxy was at the time where like I would go see the movies the day that they came out. So that's when I went to see Guardians of the Galaxy. And it was nice to be like, I felt like I was walking into a superhero movie that was like kind of disconnected from Marvel. Like it was like, oh, I'm going to see a superhero movie just to go see a superhero movie in a time where like sci-fi superhero movies weren't a thing that was huge. And if they were like a movie that was out, they weren't done well. And when I first saw it, I actually really liked it. The first time I saw Guardians of the Galaxy, I really liked it. Saw it with my best friend. It was hilarious. We quoted it all the time. But like I watched it later on and I was like, it just wasn't the movie that I thought it was. Love the soundtrack though.
All right.
Soundtrack is amazing.
So, for sake of time, we're gonna do a quick comparison. Everyone, which one did you like better, Guardians 1 or Guardians 2? For me, it was 2. Gwyneth,
1.
you liked 1 better? Nathan,
Mm-hmm.
One, I don't remember much of two.
Liam,
1.
and Ashley.
1.
Okay, so I guess I am in the minority.
How does it
I
feel?
liked it.
Oh my god! Best line all night. That's it.
Wait, I found the quip, the ultimate quip. When they're in the huddle at the end of Guardians 1, they're doing their like classic like cliche like I like when they lean into the fact that like Marvel movies are like silly. I think that's why I like it. I like leaning into like this is dumb like
Yeah,
like so they're all standing
Just
in
tell us
they're all
the
like
quote.
they're in
like
their
that's-
final huddle, right? They all stand up and then Rocket says we're all standing now. We're all standing in a circle like a bunch of jackasses.
Yeah, like that's
That's
part
a good
of why I
one.
didn't like Thor: The Dark
Yeah.
World. It's like, oh man, this Marvel movie's making me real scared of these dark elves.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
All right, we're gonna move on to the top 5. So
Oh, we're only on 5? Yo.
yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying to move it along.
We'll never finish by 9.
Oh my god.
For our viewers watching, it's 10:09.
It is 12:09 a.m. Good morning, podcast listeners.
Okay.
She is in Missouri and in misery.
I'm not in Missouri. I'm in
To be fair, a lot
Alright,
of what we
she's
have to
in
say about
Wisconsin
Spider-Man
and
will like blend
Wisconsin.
together.
All right. So this is a tie for 5th and 6th place. So we're just combining them. Iron Man and Thor Ragnarok both are tied.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, why?
Why is there a tie? Because that's how the points work.
No. Like somebody defend their opinion. I want to hear because I think Iron Man was better than Thor Ragnarok. I think Thor
Okay, no,
Ragnarok was like a fun movie.
So, okay,
Wrong
so Iron
opinion.
Man is
Oh.
great. Iron Man's great, and it started off the MCU. But Thor Ragnarok was like the perfect blend of Loki, Thor, and just like the humor in it was amazing. Like I have
Yep.
never laughed harder in my life than watching Thor Ragnarok. Like when
Jesus.
when
You need to get out more, Jerry.
no. When Bruce Banner jumps off the plane and lands in front of the wolf, and he just like ragdolls. Come on, that had me dying for like 10 minutes. And then
I think
I don't know.
Um,
Go
I
ahead,
think
Liam.
Oh, okay, sorry. I think Ragnarok is a Marvel movie doing what the Marvel movies do best, like in terms of like humor and kind of just crazy out there like sci-fi world building from the crazy multiverse stuff they have in the comics. Whereas I feel like Iron Man like works as a really good just movie.
Yeah. Ditto. I could not have said that better myself, Liam.
Yeah.
Like
But
you
I
could,
feel
you
like
could show
I can't
Iron Man
compare
to
it.
someone who doesn't really like or watch like superhero movies, and they'd still get something out of it as kind of
Like Iron Man doesn't even really feel like a super. And my favorite parts of Iron Man
Yeah.
aren't the superhero parts.
Well, that's kind of
Yeah.
cheating though, because
True.
this was at the start of the MCU, so there wasn't anything like immensely wacko going on. Like there was no quantum realm. You know what I mean? There's no like, what is it they fly into?
But it's like that
the
was a
devil's,
special
don't they go in,
like
the devil's anus or something to like fly out of the y'all know what I'm talking about? What is it called on the planet? On the Ragnarok
No, we're
planet?
just gonna keep
Yeah, the
calling
devil's-
it the
yeah.
devil's anus.
Hold
It is.
on,
It is.
I gotta
I think
look-
it is called the Devil's Anus, I think, or something like that. The Devil's Butthole or Devil's Anus or something like that. I think you're right.
Like Iron
now
Man just felt like
fact-checking
a movie, and it was done well. Like considering
Yeah.
it was like a super, like it was nice.
Iron Man also had like the most realistic. Like I know we were talking about like all the crazy space stuff in the later movies, but even just for Iron Man himself, I feel like Iron Man had the best like physics for the for especially for his suit. Like when he would hit the ground in Iron Man, I don't know if it was like the sound design or the way they like had stuff flying up in the air, but uh, it really felt like because I think he gets hit by like a tank shell or something. It feels like it's like, oh man, that guy is in a suit that could survive a tank shell. And he just got hit by a tank shell and slammed into the ground and just. Whereas I feel like in the later Avengers movies, once everyone kind of became familiar with the Iron Man suit, it kind of just became a thing where it's like, oh, it's like
There's a button
kinda-
for everything. Like
Yeah, it's
oh,
kinda-
there's
it's like,
there's
I got some-
something like prepared for every. Yeah, like
Well,
I
that's
got-
also
I got some, like-
that's a testament to Tony Stark too, because every time he encounters a problem, he fixes the problem.
but I
But
like
then you
this.
also-
Like I like this coming of like not age, but like coming into like the Iron Man story where like he doesn't have a plan for everything. Like Iron Man came out in this era of superhero movies when like superhero movies were like scared to be superhero movies. I will cite the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man films as my evidence. Like like in Iron Man was the one. I feel like that was the movie that did it the best.
Okay, I think we're getting off track
Mhm.
here a bit. I think yes, these are tied for top, but like, do y'all disagree with Ragnarok being up this high? Like, we all agree that Iron Man should be this high.
I've never seen Ragnarok.
Yeah,
Wait,
Ragnarok's a
were you
super fun movie.
insulting my sense of humor about Ragnarok and you haven't even seen it?
I've seen enough Marvel movies, man.
All right.
I'll say
Okay.
Ragnarok is funnier than the average Marvel movie. Like I enjoyed the absurdity.
It's just your
of
average
at
Marvel
the end.
movie that no one understands.
Like I
With
enjoyed
Odin, Loki.
the-
Sorry, I'm trying to do the
Oh my god.
Apparently Odd Parents theme song, but with it. Sorry, continue, Liam.
Don't try to do it.
Yeah, like I liked the way they leaned into it, where the ending is they have a Viking with dual wielding assault rifles shooting like a giant wolf on a rainbow bridge, and it's just kind of like let's like
I fail to
like
see the
let's get rid
problem.
with Thor with no that's I'm saying that's a good thing. That's why I like it more than like uh some of the other Marvel movies that like try to take themselves a little like try to take themselves like half seriously but don't fully commit and kind of water it down a little bit. Ragnarok was just
Yeah.
like let's just make some crazy stuff go down
Like
and
we're at a point in the
everyone's gonna love it.
MCU where it benefits you more to just lean into the like ridiculousness of it all, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, like I feel like I like Ragnarok more than Guardians of the Galaxy because it did have a good balance though. Like it was funny when it needed to be funny, but then they had a serious villain to offset everything who is never also because is my main thing. I hate when they make villains like trying to be funny for no reason. Like the villain was just like a villain who was evil and like serious about being evil and stuff. I like that. I like it was funny when it needed to be funny. It was serious when it needed to be serious. It wasn't like everyone trying to outquip each other in every single scene. Like it was the perfect balance. Great blend. It leaned in when it needed to lean in. Loved it. Also, another thing, fun fact. Even though I'm not a huge Iron Man fan, what Marvel did for the reasons why they made the Iron Man movies, which was because they were going broke and like they needed to sell toys to try and make money. Very good movie. Great
Nice.
movie.
Any last comments on either Iron Man or Ragnarok? Besides Liam and Ashley, because you both talk a lot.
Oh my gosh.
No, it's a good thing. I want to make sure Nathan or Wynneth, do you have anything you want to?
Oh man,
add to that?
I said a good bit. Favorite.
Right.
That's one of my favorite movies ever.
Ragnarok, right?
No, Iron.
Wynneth, what about you? Anything else to add for that?
No, I think what they said was really good. I think Nathan, you should watch it because you like Guardians, and it's pretty similar to that kind
Yeah,
of
like
format.
I don't doubt that I would like it. I just haven't gotten around to it.
All right, so then number 4. Here's where it gets interesting. Number 4, Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Good.
Okay,
What's above this?
I'm okay. I have an unpopular opinion. I actually don't think that this movie is well written, and I think Far From Home is much better. And I don't like this movie, and I think it should be lower.
I
Mm.
agree that I like the movie, which is I like all these Marvel movies. There's not a single Marvel movie except maybe Hulk that like I like that I'm gonna be like, oh, I have to watch this movie. You know what I mean? But this is the one movie I could like do without. Or not like the one movie, but like
What?
it just doesn't
Really?
need to be. It
Really?
doesn't need to be this high. It just doesn't need to be this high.
Yeah.
False. False.
I mean, I can
Ashley,
see
Please tell us
that.
why.
false.
Like
No, tell us why.
Wait for me.
No, Ashley, because she thinks we're wrong. I would love to hear your
Yeah.
opinion. Why? Yeah.
Okay, so I think that Spider-Man, it that like the place like you have to think about the placement of it within the MCU, right? So this is like pre-snap, but still after a lot of bad things have happened with the Avengers. So like Spider-Man Homecoming is set in a time in the MCU normal person universe where everyone like wants to have this normal life and like just be chill, be calm, but then also everyone's kind of like there's a lot of bad stuff going on in the world. And I think that sets that up perfectly. Like it reminds me of like for our younger viewers out there, you might not remember this, but it reminds me of what it was like to be in like the 2008 recession era where everyone was trying to like be happy, but there was a lot of stress on people. That's the vibe that this movie gives me. And like the villain, he was a villain with a purpose. He was like, do you know what? I
Yeah.
just want better for my family. I hate the like socioeconomic class I'm in. I hate all the stuff that's been going on in this world with like these heroes and these villains, and it's unfair how normal people are being treated, and he wanted to do something against it. Yes, it made him evil, but he was also like motivated because he wanted good for his family and good for other people like him. And Peter Parker was such an amazingly written Spider-Man that he was like, I want to be a normal kid, but I need to do something good with my powers. I like that. I like the world that this set up. That he was struggling between being a normal kid who understood that like the world was tough and he was finding that out. Like you see him find out like, oh, I thought being a hero would be fun, but like this is tough and the world is a mean place even to a young kid like me. Loved it. Fantastic.
Okay, yeah, I think I get it a little more, but if there's like gonna be a focus on like the civilian side of Peter Parker, I just felt like that wasn't done enough, and I could almost confuse him for any other teenager, and it wasn't like close enough to what his personality has always been in like the TV shows or the comics for me to be like, oh, this is a good Peter Parker. And I also think that like the whole like every time we have a superhero that's like into science, like why does the villain always have to be some dude that like wants to steal tech to like make himself like really really strong and like dominate the world? I
But
feel
like
like it's
I
a little
think
overplayed.
Well, that's
I think that's
that
kind
wasn't
of the
what
point
his.
though. Wait, really quick. Because like you said something that was like, I think that's the point. This Peter Parker is not comparable to like comic book Peter Parker because he is supposed to be like every other teen. Like he's just supposed to be a normal kid who just so happened to like be Spider-Man. And that's his whole thing. Like he's supposed to blend in with everyone else. And like I guess the Vulture didn't really steal the tech to just like be powerful because he didn't really want to be like a villain in the end. You know, like I feel like a lot of other villains are like, I want to steal the tech so I can have world domination. Like he just wanted to make a better life for his family.
I appreciated
like,
how
like
grounded
that.
this movie was in a time when like
Exactly.
things were getting out of hand.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
really like that.
Especially for
I-
I love grounded Spider-Man stories. I think
Yeah.
Spider-Man's place is like Spider-Man is at his best in New York in high school, not like
Yeah.
in space.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
gonna say, Liam?
100%.
I'd say, yeah. Well, I'd say I like him in space every once in a while, just because it's cool seeing him out of his like friendly neighborhood environment. Uh, but uh, but what I really liked about this movie in terms of like solo event like Marvel movies is it was an origin story for one of the Avengers where it was a superhero trying to become a superhero in a world where there are already superheroes established, and he's like, I want to become, because especially because it took place after Civil War, and so he had already kind of had a taste for like fighting with the Avengers, and he's like, I don't want to be in school. I want to be fighting with the Avengers.
Yeah.
And then he like goes and tries to like fight against the Vulture and keeps like screwing up until eventually Iron Man's like, stop trying to be an Avenger. You're not ready to be an Avenger yet. You need to learn to like the the classic Spider-Man like thing. With great power comes great responsibility.
Exactly. Wait, and that's such a good point. Just like I'll say it super quick. But like earlier when we were talking about like our main thing that we didn't like about Civil War was it was like they were pulling their punches. If you think about that, that motivates Peter Parker in this movie. He thought that being Spider-Man would be like, oh, I'm fighting with the Avengers, but he didn't realize that they were pulling their punches because they didn't want to hurt each other. This is the first time that Peter Parker's like, I'm a hero, and he thought that he could fight the Vulture. He's not, is he the Vulture?
Yeah.
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 He thought
Yeah.
that he could fight the Vulture and it would be like that because he didn't realize that like the Avengers weren't trying to hurt each other in that, and he wasn't really fighting there. This is the first time where he's actually in a fight, and you do see him struggle with that and realize that like, oh, like I'm into something deeper than I thought I was. I think that like when you look at it in that frame, fantastic, genius.
There's like a scene I think it's after he gets, it's somewhere like right before the climax of the movie. He gets like tricked or like trapped or something, and he gets like a building
in
or
the
something collapses
rubble.
on him. Yeah, and
Oh
when
my
he's like
gosh.
stuck there, it like actually felt like it was, you could actually feel like it was, oh man, this kid's like a high school kid who's trying to be a superhero, but he like doesn't know what he's doing. But at the end of the day, he's just a scared high school kid who's currently like,
He's just a kid, no older than my son.
Just a boy.
Oh gosh.
yeah.
Like I love Tom Holland's acting in that, fantastic, and that alone is why it should be that high.
All right,
And that is my piece.
we still have 3 more movies to hit here, so there's still a lot of people comments on these. So any last comments about Spider-Man: Homecoming?
I'll just give my like abridged review. I agree with Winnet. Movie is definitely not perfect, but I also like at the time like it was a good enough Spider-Man movie, and it was in a good way. Like that was a Spider-Man movie. That was a solid Spider-Man movie.
It
Like,
wasn't
I
the
left that theater and like happy. Like I was
It
like,
wasn't
wow.
the Amazing
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
exactly. No,
God.
literally, like,
Oh,
and I don't
no.
even mean that as in
Pizza
like,
time.
I don't even mean it as in like a like the bar is in hell type of way. I just mean it like we got a solid like a Spider-Man movie that felt like a Spider-Man movie, and
Yeah.
that was good enough. And like, there's still a lot on the table for like, I think there's a lot of potential still to like tell the perfect Spider-Man story, but like that was a solid offering.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. So yeah, we're gonna move on to the next one. So this is our top three movies. Coming in at number 3, The Winter Soldier, Captain America.
Yes.
So yeah, I thought this was a really good movie. I put it near my top, but I didn't put it top 3. Anyone have like an argument for top 3 here?
Am I the only one who had in their top 3? Because
No,
I'm
it was
Straight up
my
took this
number
one out.
one.
I don't remember.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
anything
It
about
was my
this.
number one. I got your back. Whatever you say, I'll probably agree with you. It was a good movie.
Literally, it was, yeah, I've watched it so many times. It is the movie where, you know, how it's like, oh, Dark World, I could put it on and do work. No, Winter Soldier is the Marvel movie that I put on. It's like a comfort movie at this point, which is a really weird comfort movie, but I love this movie. I've watched The Winter Soldier over 100 times, easily.
What?
Easily.
And you've seen
Cap.
Star Wars? You've seen Star Wars how many times?
Yo, shut up.
No, no.
I don't know what it is about it. Wasn't even like this movie was like fantastic or anything. I like the fact though that like you start to see everything kind of unravel within like the Avengers world and everything. Like you start to see like, oh crap, like Shield wasn't what we thought it was, and then you start seeing Captain America be like, oh, he was like a really by the book person, and like he starts out the movie being like, I can't do the mission if I don't know what the mission is, and like trying to put all of his faith in Shield. And at the end he's like, yo, I have to walk away from Shield because it wasn't what I thought it was. And I love Bucky Bar. Sebastian Stan, thank you for coming to UCR. I love that. I'm also free every weekend.
He
You
has
know,
a
above
girlfriend.
18. Can she fight? But
All the
can
Tom
she fight?
Hiddleston things.
Nathan, hit us with the goalie quote.
So, I think I've already said this on the podcast, but just because there's a goalie in soccer doesn't mean you can't score.
Oh God.
Precisely.
He has said this before, I think, because actually I said the exact same thing to her. He has a girlfriend, and he said it right there.
Yeah, the next podcast episode will be when we'll actually stop thirsting over Marvel men who are twice her age.
Certainly
We'll
not
see,
for the duration
won't
of this
you?
podcast.
Nope. But yeah, not much to say. I just really like this movie. There is no like rhyme or reason why. I just really like it.
The elevator scene, the real reason why we all like the movie.
True.
Amazing scene. Yeah, overall, I feel like all of us seem to agree. It was my 6. It was Liam's 8, I think. Gwyneth, you said it was your number 1.
Yes, it was.
Ashley, what was it for you?
I think it was like, well, it was ranked as a 1, but I think it showed up as like 4.
Okay, and then Nathan, you said you didn't remember.
I don't. I'm sending this one out. I don't know. I'll give it a watch though. I try. Like I feel like Gwyneth, I'd like to hear your like reasoning as to what like differentiates.
Yeah, you put it
this
number
from your
1.
average Marvel movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you for asking. I feel like Winter Soldier is such a great way to, again, like what Ashley was saying, kind of show that Cap isn't like completely this by the book character, because as we were talking about earlier, this man is like the most anti-government hero because of his issues with Shield and Hydra, and I think this kind of exemplifies it perfectly. And also, I'm a fat sucker for BFF reunited movies, and it's just overall written really well. Yep.
Nice. All right. So then this is actually a surprise ending here. So we've got a tie for the best movie.
Ooh.
What?
Number 1 and number 2, which both tied with 180, or oh my bad, 138, 138 points, was Endgame and Far From Home.
Yo, Endgame
Really?
should not
Endgame?
be up there.
Yeah.
I feel like that's weird that I wouldn't put I'm surprised either of those are at number one. Like
Whoa,
End,
whoa,
like
whoa,
Endgame
whoa,
was really
whoa.
like Endgame was really good, but I don't know if it's number one good.
Far From Home though, that's a
I
good movie.
Yeah. Far
wasn't,
From Home's good.
I wasn't a huge. I didn't think it was bad. I thought it was decent, but
Can I start with Far From Home? Like, I
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
think
go ahead.
I think
Yeah.
like I think it's the same thing where like it's not a perfect movie, and like there's still like I think there's still a lot of room for us to tell like some really good Spider-Man stories, and I don't think we've really like totally like had a movie that really like encapsulates all the stuff that are so good from like the comic book stories. But like it was a good movie. Like I enjoyed like I think what like we didn't really I didn't really talk about this when we were talking about Homecoming because I knew that I would have space to talk about this with Far From Home. But oh my god, Tom Holland is a great Spider-Man
Yep.
on the
Mhm.
movie screen. And like I think one of the best parts about like the best parts of Homecoming, like I think Gwyneth mentioned when we were talking about Homecoming. She said like there's not enough Peter Parker. Am I correct?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes.
like the best parts of Homecoming were when they gave Tom Holland the stage, and like those were
Mhm.
my favorite parts of the movie when they let Tom Holland be like Peter Parker, not Spider-Man, when they let him be Peter. And Far From
Yeah.
Home only gets more into that, and it gives us a
Yes.
huge piece of the puzzle that was missing from Homecoming, which was a
Yes.
well-developed
Yes.
romantic interest. And I
Yes.
cannot say enough good
Yes.
stuff, like good things about Zendaya either as MJ. Like what a great like chemistry those two have on screen,
Mhm.
and it's just so entertaining, like way more entertaining than any of this like CGI Mysterio like superhero stuff could be. Like I just want to see like the little rom-com that is Peter and MJ, and I think Tom Holland and Zendaya play that perfectly, and you can really tell that there's genuine chemistry there, and I guess that's evidenced
Plus
now by the
compared
fact
compared to the
I'll agree with
dating.
that. Yeah, I do like the. Sorry, what were you
no
saying?
No,
no
it's
just
really
wait, who,
good
me or
stuff.
Nathan? No,
I don't know.
I
Whichever
was
one
just
of
gonna
you is.
hop in and say that compared to the MJ and Peter Parker romance from the Tobey Maguire movies. Like
Oh
this
Oh
is like a
hell
god.
big
yes.
That
step
was a
up.
Oh my
mess.
god.
Big step
Yeah,
up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those
Yeah,
were
we've
a
been over this before, but
mess.
I could rant for 3 episodes and a half about how garbage that like on-screen romance was.
Yeah,
Which
I
is
really
real
like
quick.
Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, but yeah, MJ in those movies served pretty much solely as a purpose to get captured and being held somewhere. So
She was like one
Yeah.
of the least likable characters I have ever seen in cinema.
I just think that's really wild. Like, if anyone is ever having trouble getting a partner, just like become Spider-Man. Just play Spider-Man because you will date whoever like your co-lead is.
I don't think that's how the Force works.
Yes, all anyone who has been Spider-Man and Spider-Man, Mary Jane, Spider-Man, Gwen Stacy, and here once again Spider-Man, Mary Jane. They've all dated.
Really?
Wait,
Like that's
have they
yeah,
really?
yeah. They've all dated.
What the heck? I
Yeah,
did not know that.
yeah.
Interesting.
Tobey
I think
Maguire
that's so
dated
wild.
Andrew Garfield? No.
Stop.
Oh my god.
Wait, are they
Very
about to all
problematic.
date each other now? Gosh.
Are we about a kid? No. I'll say like I really appreciate the like Far From Home for like having MJ not be like maybe I'm not as like maybe I could be wrong about this because I'm not like super well versed in Spider-Man comics, but like Zendaya doesn't feel like a traditional MJ, and like not just
Yes.
like obviously there's like
Yeah.
the superficial stuff where like she doesn't look like MJ, but like past that, like
Mhm.
Zendaya's like different, but they nailed
Yes.
it. Like it's not, and
Yes.
I'm a big proponent of like we don't have to stick to like source material. Like this is a movie, like you can let it be its own entity. Like
Mhm.
they did a great job. Like for having for like veering away from the source material that much and having MJ not be MJ, like they killed it. Like Zendaya is like a better like I would totally take like the Far From Home MJ as like a valid Spider-Man love interest, if not like a better one.
Yeah. Especially for
No,
like
100%.
how they portray Spider-Man in these movies. Like they just seem so compatible.
Exactly.
It makes sense.
They're
And I
a
like
pair.
I like the, like the cheesy rom-com trope where at first he was really into like the preppy popular girl, but then like him and MJ end up together. I love that. I love every moment of it. Also, like you mentioned earlier, Tom Holland is just like an amazing actor as Spider-Man. Like I hate that people try and be like, ooh, let me compare them, and like he's not the same as like source material Spider-Man, like you said. Like he's just an amazingly well-written Spider-Man. I love that. I love Tom Holland as this Spider-Man. It seems original
Like-
and fresh and like authentic.
It feels well thought out. Like they thought, like what are the best parts of Spider-Man? What are the fundamentals here? They like captured a Spider-Man that had like everything that people want from Spider-Man in one.
That's the thing
And like
too. Like
gave him the stage.
like especially near the end of the movie, or okay, like the part where he's humble, like he like gives away the glasses because he's like trying to be humble. He's trying to get back to like that. Oh, this is out of my league, you know. In addition, also when he's like doing the whole fight scene at the end, like okay, also him making the suit and then the fight scene, like it shows off how he's a brilliant guy. Like you don't always realize it because like what is like if you need the suit, then like you don't deserve it. Is that what's the quote for that?
Yeah, I know.
If you're nothing without the suit,
Yeah, if you're
then,
nothing without the suit, you don't deserve it.
it shows
that was in Homecoming, right?
Yeah,
That was in
I'm saying it like it proves that.
Got it. Oh yeah, it's a continuation of that.
Yeah, like it proves that he is like a genius. Like he is stronger force.
And he keeps this nice, consistent development across the movie that he's like that line, you see it in Far From Home, you know?
Mm-hmm. But also, like with the development, I like that as you see him more and more, you see how much of a toll being a superhero is taking on him, like mentally and emotionally. I like Tom Holland, like how he plays distress and like panic and just needing to like grit up, I guess, is like wild. Especially that it, like I know that we're like Mysterio, so not the main thing, but that end fight scene where they're on the bridge, even though like no, Peter doesn't technically kill him. Sorry, spoilers to whoever hasn't seen it. Like that whole scene, that shot where Peter sees Mysterioso die and like he goes to MJ and he just like,
Mysterio.
is that his name?
Yeah.
Is it just Mysterio?
Mysterioso, I love it.
Just the name he calls it, Mysterios.
Oh
I'm
my
just gonna
gosh.
keep calling him Mysterioso.
Yeah,
now.
it's canon now. Forget it. Don't worry.
Is that like the Spanish version?
Yeah, it means mysterious.
What? But like the after.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We're it's too
Oh
late
my
for
gosh, I
Ashley.
can
She needs
say
to go to bed.
But I do the aftermath of that where like he just looks so like distraught and like I don't know, like distressed, and it's like something he's never seen before. Like it's just wild. It's just wild to see how death takes a toll on this Spider-Man, I guess. And I really like that. Like I like that every single time that he sees a villain die, he gets more and more like distressed from it. And like but it makes the ending kiss between him and MJ that much more perfect. Just mwah. Loved it. Loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably, if I watched Far From Home again, I might rank it higher than where I have it in my list right now. I think the main thing because now that I'm remembering these parts when you guys are talking about it, I do remember I enjoyed the Peter Parker and MJ stuff. I think the main disappointment for me was it was kind of a similar thing to some of the other ones, which was it was after Endgame, and it was like, oh, okay, what's post Endgame Earth gonna look like? Like, you've got the blip, and they kind of touch on that with like some students being like the age difference in the people that came back.
I remember that. Yeah.
But then it's like, oh, what's the like Iron Man's gone, like it's like what's this Marvel Cinematic Universe like now? And then and they like kind of tease the multiverse stuff, and they're like, oh, it's not actually multiverse stuff. It's Jake Gyllenhaal doing some CG stuff. Oh, okay, so it's more villain of the week kind of.
Yeah.
No, I love that. That was like one of the strongest points of why I love that movie so much. Like like, okay, I'll compare to like right now, right? So for people listening, a little bit of context. So I moved to California and I was there for like 4 or 5 years, and I haven't seen my family in the Midwest for that amount of time. And like I came back here and I was like, wow, everything is so different, but you don't know exactly what has changed while you've been gone. And I feel like they write Peter Parker in that sort of mind frame of like he notices some of the things that are different, like his classmates being older, obviously, but like you don't know everything that's different. And you're also seeing it from like a young teenager's perspective, where like some of the larger things that are different don't have the same sort of impact on him as it would like an older Avenger. You know, like you kind of see that in Infinity War through Captain America's perspective when he's in the group sessions. Like you see stuff like that there, but like Far From Home has a more kind
Isn't
of
that
fun
Endgame?
perspective. Oh yeah, in game. And in game you see that with Captain America, but like Far From Home has a more like fun perspective, I guess, on what happens after the blip. Like they see the little newscast and everything, and like people appear on the court, like the basketball court, whatever. Like that was kind of fun. It gave you like a young person's perspective on what happened. And like the whole Mysterio, I'm still calling him Mysterio. So Mysterio, so like, oh, he's kind of the same villain. It's like the same but different, because now it is like more villains are going to be motivated because there are not the Earth's mightiest heroes anymore. And I like that. I like that they really start capitalizing it right off the bat, because that's human nature. As soon as someone notices like a dent in the armor, they're going to go after it. And I like how that also ties back into Ultron's whole thing. His whole thing was like, there's a dent in the armor in the world, and someone is going to capitalize it and make it bad. And they start to capitalize on it right away. And I
Okay,
like that.
Yeah,
I
but there
agree with you
were
with the
but
dent
we
in the
already
armor.
had 22 other movies. Like
Yeah,
like
but this one
like
feels
Endgame,
real.
but
Like it's
Endgame,
true.
yeah, but Endgame, like we had Endgame, and you had like a lot of the main like crew from the Avengers kind of like retire or die or whatever. And then and Far From Home was kind of at least for me going into it was like, oh, okay, what can I like what new things can I like be excited for? Because Endgame kind of felt like up to that point it felt like it was the end of the Marvel movies. Like there were more after it, but it was the end of like that generation of Marvel movies. And so I'm like, okay, what can we expect from these new like this new generation of Marvel characters, like with more focus on like things like Spider-Man and Doctor Strange and things like that. And when they started to do like I get what you're saying about the kind of it feels the same, just like a little different. I did like that. I didn't feel like they did enough of that with the because after the events of Endgame, it's I feel like they didn't. I don't know. It
I feel like
it
it
didn't feel like
makes
the world.
sense.
It didn't feel like the world had. It didn't feel like the world had progressed that much. I feel like they did like just enough to kind of acknowledge it, but they didn't make it a part of the story as much as I would have liked to. All
I don't
the
know.
like the overall, I didn't feel like it. I didn't feel like the Mysterio stuff contributed to the overall MCU story. It was just it kind of made me like, oh, if it's just gonna be the same thing, but with okay, maybe all right.
I agree with Lee. I get what you're saying about like the dent in the armor thing, but like I actually think Liam, you said like if I watched it again, maybe I would rank it higher. I can almost tell you with certainty that if I watched this again, I would rank it lower because I distinctly remember hating all of this like fluff that was in there. Like that was like getting in the way of like the Peter MJ like romance.
Oh
Like
my
I
goodness.
hated Mysterio. It was like a boring villain. Like it was just like it was like they needed they weren't like giving the like the real meat of it, which is like the Peter and MJ like relationship developing. They weren't giving it like the full attention it deserved. And I remember that's why like I walked out of the theater like, wow, that like I enjoyed those parts, but like that superhero plot like it was not
Oh my.
fun.
So really, Nathan, you should have just watched a rom com.
But I want a Spider-Man rom-com. That's it, like I don't like.
Yeah.
I want a
Well, then you
Spider-Man
have to
rom-com that
have a
has an
villain.
interest.
Yeah,
that,
how many
like,
rom-coms have you seen where the lead guy is freaking Spider-Man?
like
Exactly.
I
There
want a
has to be a
Spider-Man
villain
rom-com
then.
that is like properly woven into a superhero story. I want an interesting villain
Okay.
that's more than just like
I just
like
want
projectors on a like screen. Like
I
No,
just want
but
a
like that
Spider-Man
makes sense.
that doesn't have a Peter tingle and instead has a Spidey sense. That is all I want from a Spider-Man
No, okay,
movie.
wait. Let
Okay,
me
can I-
let
can
me
I-
defend Mysterio. No, let me defend Mysterio really quick and tell you why he's actually the perfect villain for after this, right?
Okay.
So he was there as everything was like falling. He was there like for the blip. He did not get blipped. To my knowledge, I don't think he got blipped, right? He was like the person who was in the company who was kind of holding everything together. And then all of a sudden, like everyone is back. And he's like, I held this company together. I should be the one in charge now. It literally like it's the perfect villain when you think about it, of he's coming from it from the state of like, I have a whole bunch of competition now. I have to do something that will give me power. The blip was so sudden where like it's secretly woven in. You have to, oh my gosh, I don't know how to explain it. It's
But-
like
I get what you're
he's
saying.
But
like, you know what I
but
mean?
after
You're
Thanos,
saying,
why do
like-
you care about? Why would you care about like after like Thanos and Loki and like
Mhm.
like Killmonger? Why would you care about a guy that used to work for Iron Man? That's
exactly. Like,
because
wait,
because
let
it's
me-
human nature. It's
Yeah,
human
well, you could say
nature
you
where
could say
like
that about any of the human characters.
No, no,
It's
no.
just
no,
I
like-
think it's
it's
a little
special
different.
circumstance.
Yeah.
Thank
Actually,
you.
I would
Anna.
like to add on to your point. I think
like sure, it's human circumstance. Like hate your boss. But
no, but like
No!
not a human. I think I can get behind a little bit the human circumstance of hating your boss, but I think more so Mysterio. Oh, I almost said Mysterioso. I
We're calling him
swear.
Mysterioso.
Mysterioso is such a great villain for Peter's human aspect, and I think that's why I like this movie so
Yes.
much because I finally get to see the Peter Parker, and I get the Uncle Ben moment that I've been waiting for so long. And this whole blip thing, like, and Mysterioso offers a different side and a more depressing side because he feeds off the insecurity of Peter never being the person that he thinks he should be in his mind.
Exactly.
And I think that's what makes it so perfect because it offers a different side to this whole like consequences of the blip, depression.
Exactly.
Boom,
Thank you.
right there.
When it, boom. Period. Nailed it.
Thank you.
Mysterioso is the perfect. Like you keep talking about how you like the Peter Parker moments.
Call him
Mysterioso isn't
Mysterioso
there.
one more time. I'm kidding.
I'm going to keep calling him Mysterioso. Mysterioso isn't there to be Spider-Man's villain. He's there to be Peter Parker's villain. That's who he's the villain to. Not Spider-Man, but Peter Parker. It makes so much sense for this entire time. We're seeing Peter develop and like try and find out who he is. And like when it's said, like you see him go through this self-doubt because of Mysterio. And like you see Peter Parker grapple with that. It wasn't like he was like, oh, like, I mean, yes, there's a little bit of like, I don't know if I'm a powerful enough Spider-Man to beat him. It was more like, am I powerful enough Peter Parker to beat him?
Yes.
I like that.
I want to give my 2 cents real quick. Like, I definitely like see what you guys are saying here. Like about like, I agree he's a well done villain from like a like on paper stand. Like, I think
A
it's
bubble,
like
I think,
he checks
yeah.
all the boxes of like he interacts with Peter in an interesting way, but he himself is not interesting. That's
But
my
that's
issue
the
with
whole.
it.
Yeah,
That's the whole point.
yeah, like
That's
as
the point.
well, the thing is, as a like in a bubble, like as just a like on its own, I think it's a pretty good movie. But as the 23rd movie in a movie series, it's after like you've had had characters where you have Thanos fighting for like saving the universe because of his bullshit or whatever, like I'm gonna like resources whatever, I'm your god savior, everyone worship me kind of deal. And then you have like Killmonger fighting against like the oppression of like of African people like throughout the world. And then you have people, and then you have someone like Loki who's who like his not necessarily hatred, but his kind of his the he I, acts out feels like an understatement, but the way he kind of does, he acts out because he didn't feel
He killed
loved
52
by-
people.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
like
Yeah.
because
He's adopted.
because he didn't feel loved by like his godfather, and then you have but then after 20 by the 23rd movie, if you're having a character with the same motivation as the villain in Iron Man 3, where it's
But
a
it's
guy
not.
it's Iron Man 3.
It's
The villain in
not.
the villain in Iron Man 3 is a guy who
No.
used to work with Iron Man and who Iron
It's
Man kind of
Like
blew
it
up
just
on.
feels like
And
they
then-
pulled
and
him
then-
out of
no,
some
and then-
let me
like
explain
dusty
it. Let me
cupboard
explain.
somewhere.
I'm trying to finish.
Let Liam finish.
No.
Let Liam finish.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Both of them are people who both of them used to work for Iron Man, and Iron Man, because Tony Stark's a bit of a dickhead, like kind of blew them off and kind of threw them to the side, and they kind of had to deal with stuff on their own. And then they said, you know what, I'm going to become successful in spite of Iron Man. And then one became like a super powerful like weapons manufacturer or something, and the one became like a crazy CGI practical application. And they're like,
Oh my
you know
God.
what, the world has been unfair to me. It's time to take something for myself. I worked hard and I built up myself my own powers. I'm just as good as Iron Man, and I'm gonna do evil things now. And it's the same thing for both of those.
It's not the
characters.
same thing. And let me tell you why it's not the same thing. In Iron Man was still alive. In Spider-Man, there's no one to fill that power. He's not like in the Iron Man movies, they're trying to overthrow Iron Man. In Spider-Man, they're trying to fill a power gap. There's no one at the top right now. So it's not that they're trying to overthrow anyone. This is what I mean when it's like it's the perfect movie because it shows the consequences of the blip and everything that happened. It shows what happens when the majority of the heroes die. Everyone's fighting for power now. That means large scale villains that we haven't seen yet and just normal people who worked for Tony Stark. That's why it makes so much sense because the main consequence of everything is that anyone can have power now, and that's what the blip and not having Avengers
Anyone
shows.
can cook.
Yeah,
Yeah,
If-
no,
like,
really
if Mysterio, like if
Like-
Mysterio had,
Bro, why
had,
Mysterio
like,
for that?
well, if Mysterio had
because
like actually
Mysterio was
tried
the
to
one who
become
took
Iron
over
Man,
when Tony wasn't there.
if Mysterio had like actually tried to like become Iron Man, but like it was kind of a twisted, selfish, like doing it for the fame Iron Man, then that would have been one thing. But him trying to get people to think he's Iron Man by like making a fake set of monsters and then like pretending to kill them. It's like in a world where you've seen all these crazy people who do have superpowers, seeing someone pretend to have
exactly.
superpowers.
No,
It's
is
the
that's
boring.
why.
try.
That's why it makes sense though.
No, it
Because
doesn't.
yes, it does. If you look at from the frame of everyone just came back from the blip and they need someone to look up to now because the majority of the Avengers are gone. It's not like he's trying to become Iron Man because he wants the mantle or anything. He doesn't want the mantle. He doesn't care about actually being a hero. He cares about the power opportunity that comes with it. And that's why he's such a realistic villain. If you look at any company, if
How
a
is he-
CEO, if you let me finish, let
Sorry.
me and hear me out here because it makes so much sense. In any company where like, oh, do you know what, like, or even a government where like the main person in power, something abrupt happens to them. And then the next in line goes up and they become like the head power person. Mysterio was that person. Mysterio took over the company when Tony Stark wasn't there. He ran a lot of Tony's company and businesses. He was a main power player within that. So it makes sense for him to be like, I was literally in charge for all of these years while everyone was gone. I should still be in charge now after everyone comes back. It makes sense from that standpoint.
But
It
just
makes
because
sense. Nope, I'm still going. It makes
God. Just because it makes
It
sense
makes
doesn't make
sense.
it like good or interesting.
Exactly.
Yes, it does.
That's what I've been
Yes, it
thinking this
does.
whole
It
time.
makes it
Like
so
if Peter
interesting.
Parker had like realized that the
No.
Mysterio was, that Jake Gyllenhaal was Mysterio and then just shot him in the face and then rolled credits, it would have made sense.
Yeah,
but it
like
wouldn't
that,
make
what Liam
Well,
just
that is
says
kind
just
of
like
what
perfectly
happened.
encapsulates how I feel about this. Like you're
No,
like
but like, okay,
he
wait,
fits
the
in
whole,
well, but that doesn't make him like an interesting character.
yes, it does. It makes it so interesting because then you have to think about like, how is that going to affect the rest of the universe? Because it's not just this one bubble where there's power struggles. There's
It's
power
not
struggles
true.
everywhere. And when you look into other Marvel cinematic pieces that will happen after the blip, you're going to start to see all of those power bubbles pop up where people are going to be like, yo, I was in power before, I should still be in power. It sets up a new dynamic for the MCU, and that's why he's a good villain. Because it starts to switch your mind frame from people aren't being villains because they want to take over the Avengers and rule the world. People are being villains because they want this new power opportunity that has suddenly popped up. There's no one to fill that void, and that's what makes it so
I think
interesting.
But
maybe
compared to
we could
everyone
just
else in
go
the,
on
in the
about
ev-
this
but compared to
forever. It
Yeah,
might
the
be
Marvel
time to
movies,
just
I
I agree,
wrap it.
Nathan.
doesn't have.
Okay,
sorry.
yeah. Let's hear some opinions on Endgame and
Thank
why
you.
some of y'all put it
Thank you.
so high.
Yes, so I would like to start off by saying Avengame.
Great start.
Avengers Endgame, same thing. Definitely deserves to be at the top. It's the culmination of all the Marvel movies. Had amazing comebacks. All of like the scenes look phenomenal. Fortnite was in it, of course.
It was?
Yeah, y'all remember the that was just a joke, but yeah, Fortnite actually wasn't that one like part,
Yeah.
but
It was
Uh,
when sad Thor is being sad.
yeah, Fat Thor was being fat.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
Wait, was it actually?
Yeah,
Yeah,
actually
it
it was.
was.
The time travel, I thought everything they did with that, even though like you have to suspend your belief, I thought the way they handled it was very well. Um, the comedy in it was amazing. Uh, everything like like Captain America fighting himself. I can do this all day. Yeah, yeah, I know. Like
Yeah.
I don't know everything about this movie. Like the entire time I was invested. The entire time I'm like, yo, this is amazing. Like, I don't know. I think the Avengers movies themselves all should like be ranked generally pretty high, just for like I don't know, like the way they're like cohesive, like working as a team, everything that's just going on with that. But I don't know, like
Yeah.
anyone else, like Liam, did you also put Endgame high?
Yeah, I put Endgame as number 5 for me. I because I put Infinity War as 2 because I really liked Endgame, but I didn't think it was as quite as like tightly written as Infinity War. Like Infinity War for me at least, I felt like this movie has like 30 characters, but it didn't feel overcrowded. Whereas Endgame at certain points felt
It feels like
very
you're tying up loose ends. Like we have
Yeah.
like things to address, you know?
yeah, it's kind of a like the good version of like season 8 of Game of Thrones, where it's like, oh man, we only have like so many hours and we have all of these things to wrap up. Let's just make everything happen at the same time with everyone. And like, even the nice thing is like, even when it is convoluted or doesn't really make sense, it's never not entertaining, which is great.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I put it at the top. Is this is one of the most entertaining movies for me. Like everything that they did in it, like Captain. This is like spoilers, but if you haven't seen Endgame at this point, what are you doing? But like Captain America getting the hammer, I don't know, like Iron Man, with rescue. I'm trying to think of like other things that like huge things that happened in this movie. But I'm like
You're gonna say
blanking all of a
Iron Man
sudden.
dying.
Iron Man dying. I thought his
That was
sacrifice
big.
was.
I love it.
I
Wow.
thought his sacrifice was performed perfectly. Black Widow's was like
Yeah.
a little more questionable, but the way that
Yeah.
the way that he went
Yeah.
out saving the universe, perfect. Like everything
little-
they did with Iron Man in that movie, perfect.
Yeah, sorry, a quick detail with that. I really liked that they didn't have him have any like final gasping words. It was like he used the Infinity Gauntlet and it
And he's
like
done.
killed him and he's dead. He's like
Yeah.
he's kind of almost brain dead, like even in his like last moments. It's like he's lucid enough to kind of acknowledge the people around him that are like giving him that are telling him that he did it and he saved everything, but he doesn't have time for like a like some clever or some like because he had the Iron Man line, which was also really cool.
Yeah.
But it made his death feel more real than I expected it to.
Yeah. And then
It made a character that's so like known for being like quippy and like sarcastic and fun. Like it made it like serious in a very believable way.
Yeah. I feel like the one thing that like, because it is not a high ranking movie. I love the movie. I enjoy it for what was. It was really good. It's just not high ranking for me. Like it's a little bit lower than the middle. But the one thing I really dislike about that movie was Captain America's ending. I hated it. I absolutely hated his ending. It didn't make sense. His entire motivation that entire time was getting Bucky back. And he goes back in time to be with Peggy, essentially ruined, like totally changing Peggy's life course just because he wanted to be with her after doing everything, nearly tearing the Avengers apart to get Bucky back.
Well,
I just didn't think that made sense.
Well, I think it wasn't that he wanted Bucky back because he wanted to just hang out with Bucky all the time. I think he wanted Bucky back because it was like his best friend who like saved his life and he thought had died. And he's like, oh, I owe this guy, and he's like my best friend. I want to make sure he's okay. But like once he's okay, like they don't know each other that well. Like at this point,
do.
What?
At this like no, I mean he's the dude's been brainwashed by. He's like a sleeper agent. He's gone through, like, both of them have gone through a lot of stuff since like the last time. You can say they're friends in they're friends in
I
like.
disagree with you. I think they're still really close in this.
Yeah.
I just think that I just want to say this from my point of view. Imagine you have like the love of your life that you thought you'd never be able to see again, and you're presented with the opportunity because he knows Sam's going to be safe. He knows that Bucky's going to be safe. He knows that like they're like a good team too. And he now has this opportunity in which he's presented to go back and be with the love of his life. And he's already done more than like anyone could ask of him. And now he's presented the opportunity to like get a life. So therefore he takes it. I don't see anything wrong with it.
What would hanging out with Bucky be like? Like
because my thing with it is that he goes through it. Like I get that Bucky's a different person, but like he didn't even stay around long enough to make sure that Bucky would be okay. Like he just left. Like he gets Bucky back and leaves. And it's just like like I get that he feels indebted to him and he wants to give Bucky the opportunity to have his own life now. But at the same time, it's like you really brought him back and he needed you the most and you just dip and then you ruin Peggy's life. Peggy had a life with kids who she loved. Like she loved being married to her husband. She did other things without Steve and like had a full life. I just thought that was really selfish of him to take that.
Bro, at the end of the day,
time travel stuff that doesn't really like.
It's like a suspend your belief thing. Were you gonna add something?
Yeah, like I think. Yeah.
I was gonna say at the end of the day, Bucky's not gonna kiss Steve. Now is he?
Yeah, exactly.
Sadly not.
Sucker for romance.
Well, we don't know that. We don't know that. It could
Sometimes
happen.
you're also forgetting that like
what that arm do.
The metal arm. Oh my gosh. No, but you're also forgetting like the first movie, the scientist guy. I'm pretty sure he says to Captain America like, it's not important that like I'm paraphrasing, but it's like it's not important that you're a good soldier, just like a good man. And it's like he's not a soldier. Like Bucky from the beginning was like more of the soldier. But he's just like a guy. Like what does he say? I'm a kid from Brooklyn. Like he's gotten like intertwined with all this like galactic stuff, like but he's still that kid from Brooklyn. So I know, like you said, you had a complaint with like him and what's her name, like Peggy. Like, oh, does that like ruin her timeline? But
yeah,
it's like he was already like a man out of time. So like he's
but like
to his time.
But it's not his time though. That's like it's not his time anymore. You know, it was his time, but it's not.
the way that like the Doctor Strange Doctor Strange's teacher, I forget her name, the Grand Supreme.
Sorcerer Supreme.
So yeah, the Sorcerer Supreme. The way she described it, the way the time travel works in this universe, whenever you go back in time and make a change, it creates a new timeline.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
theory,
Yeah.
he comes back in time. He comes back in time, creating a new timeline. Like before she ever meets, like probably not that long after he like crashed into the ice, and then it's just he lives in a separate timeline, like
Exactly.
with Peggy, which doesn't really, which would work if he didn't like then just show up at
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
end, which
Yeah.
that kind of that stuff with the time travel is
Yeah,
like
see, I think they
is
try
a little
to answer some of that with the Loki TV show for those of you who are like watching that show, but yeah, even the original directors were like, "Oh yeah, Captain," they said this like in an interview or something. They're like, "Oh yeah, Captain America would have to like time travel back to when he left to hand off the shield to what's his name? To Sam, you know what I mean?" So
Yeah.
like yeah, like
But-
like these are like plot points or like plot holes in the movie, but the problem is there's no way to truly explain time travel because time travel doesn't exist. Like
Yeah, and I get it.
There,
It just,
there, are,
like,
there are
I
some
don't know.
movies that do some pretty
Yeah,
good.
do like a solid job. Yeah, this is one of those cases where they didn't really do a solid job. For one, a joking reason. That also means Captain America didn't stop racism. There's a lot of racism going on in your time, Captain America. What'd you do? What'd you do to stop it?
he literally fought Nazis, bro.
Yeah, why didn't he go kill Jonathan F's racism when he was a baby? What the fuck?
No, I'm just saying. I think it would have been real powerful for Captain America to be like, you know what? Like, we got to stop these Jim Crow laws. Did he do it? I don't know.
I mean, I feel like there were already people at that time that were already like, hey, these aren't like super awesome. Maybe let's
Yeah, but
not.
they weren't wearing
Yeah.
tights.
Exactly. Like,
You know?
I
Fair.
want to know what Captain America personally did. But that's not see, I can't get into something else because like I don't want to talk about spoilers for the Marvel TV shows, but that's also plays roles in it as well. But the other thing that I don't know, like I just didn't really like how they handled him being like, I'm gonna go back in time now. I'm a dip. I would have preferred if he was like, you know what, I have done my job, and he just walked away and like went off the grid. I would have liked that better.
Should have brought.
like,
Peggy
He's
with
on the
him to
moon, bro.
future.
Don't you remember?
He should
wish.
have just brought Peggy with him to the future.
Well, Peggy's dead.
No,
Yeah,
I
he was
actually
dead.
saw a thing like that. What do you call it? Like a comic someone drew where like he brought Peggy, like it's him, like, you know, like Hulk tries to like hit the recall button and Cap never
Mhm.
comes back because like he like stayed in the timeline or whatever.
Oh yeah.
I saw one where like Hulk hits the button and it's like Captain America comes back and he's like holding Peggy in his arms and he's like, "We're getting married."
You know what? Actually, I feel like that also would have made more sense. I would have accepted that more if
Yeah.
if he had brought Peggy back to the future than him just going back to the past. I don't like that. I didn't like it at all. It just seemed very like not him.
That is true. Because at that point, did he make it? Does he like the 40s more than he likes present day?
He
Like,
likes racism.
Like
Yeah,
I got
'cause then
the
it's
sense
weird.
that
His
once he
race
got
is confirmed.
confirmed.
I'm just being like genuine. Like I mean this as a joke. I'm sorry to the podcast listeners, but you mean to tell me he would rather go back in time where he had to use water fountains where he was like, I get to use the white people one and then there's the colored people water fountain. Are you kidding me?
I mean, that's where he's
Not
from,
my
though, right?
Captain America.
Well,
It is.
I think the whole
It
thing with
is.
racism is if you're white, it's not all that bad.
Cap is probably
Kind of-
racist,
that's kind of-
bro.
that's
He's
kind of
not
the-
wrong. He's not. It sounds bad.
No,
but he's
yeah,
not
like
wrong.
wait, he's from that
Yeah.
time, dude. He's probably racist himself.
Exactly. That's what
Bro, he
trips
gave
me
the
out.
shield to
Being like,
Sam.
I mean, he didn't actually give
the
it to
age,
Sam.
the age-old excuse of, oh, I have
That
black
would-
friends.
Yeah, like,
I must not
that
be
doesn't
We're
mean
getting
racist.
off topic here. We're
Yeah.
getting off topic.
That would be interesting. Like some military character. He's like, so what'd you do with your shield? And you're like, oh yeah, I gave it to this like African American man. And being like, you did what? And he's like, oh damn, I'm not
Exactly.
not in the present anymore.
Yeah, he's in the wrong
Ugh.
timeline.
Like,
So what I want to know though is for the people who ranked Endgame super low, like you all don't seem to be disagreeing with me in that it was like a fun movie, and like I saw that in the theater, everyone was freaking out in the theaters. Like that was like the best experience I've had in my life on like a movie, and yet you all like ranked it super low. That's why I don't understand. Like, are you ranking these movies based on how much fun you have watching them, or like
No.
their content? Like I don't understand
like
how your
from
rank
an
system
artistry
works.
perspective, it's like
Quality.
this movie was only like people are freaking out in theaters just because like it's the culmination of like so like obviously like a
And that's why I
huge
think it makes it
lineage of
good.
movies, you know? And like yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just like from like the quality of like the movie or like an artistry standpoint, it's like this was like inevitable that like you know, like it's hard to make a bad movie about that, you know, or like let me correct
Justice
that.
League,
It's hard
the
to make
Justice
a
League
not.
would like to disagree with you.
yeah, the
Yikes.
Justice League and the Suicide Squad would both.
It should be hard to make of like a bad movie with everyone's favorite like superheroes like colliding, you know?
literally Batman versus Superman.
Oh my god.
Oh,
the
God.
DC.
two
Getting
most
worse.
popular like superheroes ever.
I mean, okay, like jokingly, yes, but also like I really see what Nathan's saying. It's like this movie wrote itself.
Like the
basically.
difference is like with DC,
It's
it's
no
like
surprise.
we're just throwing them out, but it's like Marvel, it's like we've already made all these movies that everyone loves and like holds dear. Like everyone loves these characters. We're just like putting them together, you know?
Yeah.
It's not like a Batman versus Superman thing where it's like everyone goes into this knowing like DC doesn't know how to do this. Like these like no one has any like cinematic attachment to these characters at all. Like
But
it's
I mean,
not really the same.
They could. I get what you're saying. That's like that. To a certain extent, like there were some things that weren't like super like crazy innovative like things that were exciting, but the I completely forgot what point I was going to make. Whatever it was, it made a lot of sense and would have been.
Nice.
I see
Like,
it as
it was
Marvel.
exciting.
I
Like,
agree completely, Liam. Fantastic.
Marvel like
comment.
cashing the
You-
check
see, you got what
of,
I was
like
saying.
all the like world building they've done. You know, like this is them taking it to the bank and like
Yeah.
it's fun for
Oh,
everyone.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is they could have done it poorly where they did just do kind of like the thing that they subverted at the beginning where they just like instantly kill Thanos because he's like, oh yeah, no, I destroyed
Whoa,
the stones so
spoilers,
that you
bro.
couldn't sit. Yeah. Like, oh yeah, I destroyed the stone so that you couldn't use them to undo the thing I did because like obviously, and they're like, oh shit. Like they could have easily done it where Thanos like went into hiding somewhere and they like went and were just looked around for Thanos, found Thanos, and then they fight another CGI army of his, and then he uses his like Infinity Gauntlet for stuff. And they do have like the CGI army fight at the end, and because you kind of have to, but they made it a little more. They having the time travel stuff as much as it's kind of a little like all over the place and isn't super like solidly like consistent with itself. It made it a lot more because like after Infinity War, you're like, oh man, what are they going to do in the next movie? They're going to have to go kill Thanos, but it wasn't like they were just kind of messing around padding time before they could go kill Thanos. They went and immediately killed Thanos, and they like actually gave them something to do. It's like, oh yeah, the things you need aren't in this timeline anymore.
It wasn't just some
good
drawn
luck.
out plot to kill Thanos. You know, there was
Yeah.
more like to it.
Yeah.
Some
I don't
Ocean's
know. I
11
feel
level, like heist. We're stealing the time stones back. I mean, that's kind of what they did
Yeah.
actually.
That's exactly what they did.
I'm gonna stop
Yeah.
talking now. I'm gonna stop talking.
I feel like it was a fun movie to watch and it was cool, but it also was kind of like I knew how it was going to end, and like yeah, the time travel was cool and it was a fun way to pay like homage to everything that's happened in the MCU before, which was like okay, that's fun, that's cool, that's campy. I don't know, it was just like it was fun for what it was, but it wasn't like I didn't think it was groundbreaking or anything. I was like, it's what I expected it to be. I expected them to fight him and to win, and people are gonna die, and it's gonna start something new, you know? Which is why I was like, it wasn't like amazing. It was what I expected.
I think the
Like,
box
It was-
office begs
I
to
don't know.
disagree with you.
No,
Chat,
I
we're
mean,
on
I
the
know.
retro.
It was how
No, like-
crazy of a movie you can make with Disney money.
Like, it was good for what it was. Like, I think it's a solid anchor movie for the MCU, but it's not like a movie that makes me want to watch it again. You know, it was like a movie that I could
Yeah.
watch one time and be like, okay, I got what I need to get from it. It was great. It was a great experience. I saw it in theaters. I cried. I laughed. I cheered. I booed. All of it. But it's like, it just wasn't a Marvel movie that made me be like, oh, I could watch it 100 times.
Yeah,
That's fair. Because it,
I
yeah, it
completely
only ends
agree.
once.
Yeah, and I feel like this movie is a very good example of like what the epitome of all Marvel movies are, right? Like Ashley said, like you get some really good fight scenes, you get to see all your favorite heroes, they take down the big bad wolf, and like, it's just like a great feel-good movie. And I think the best quality that this movie had was hype. Like hype
Yeah.
from where Infinity War left off, hype from all the promos, hype from the trailers, and that's why, you know, what is it? Box office tickets do so well because of the anticipation of how is this going to end out. But
Exactly.
yeah, like quality wise and like writing, not groundbreaking. Nothing really new that they've ever done before. And I think that's why like it's so low on my list because it's just not a good movie. And I don't think it's worth sitting 3 hours again to go through a not
To
good
be
movie.
fair, I
Disagree.
think it's good that like I don't think this was the time to like be doing new stuff, you know? It was like it was meant to be something and it executed that. And like
Yeah.
that's good. That's fine. But like yeah,
I
it's
get
not
that.
it's not gonna be on
Yeah.
anyone's list of like best like cinematic masterpiece, you know.
No,
like,
really, yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Jared would disagree.
Doing new stuff.
I never said it was the
From
best
home is
cinematic.
far.
Who
Yeah,
said
I
some
think
far
Jared just
words?
thinks it's really entertaining.
I
Right,
ranked these
Jared?
on I ranked these how
Yeah.
entertained I was by them, and this is one of the most entertained. Like all the Avengers movies, I was like, except maybe Ultron because I never even saw that in theaters. But like, I rant here. I put for my top 5: Endgame, Ragnarok, Iron Man, Infinity War, and The Avengers. All these movies are like hugely entertaining. Endgame and Infinity War for obvious reasons. Ragnarok for the comedy, Iron Man for like all the things we mentioned earlier, just like it was like the first MCU movie. It did something new and it was like actually like a really good story. And then the Avengers was also like
Shawarma.
shawarma. Like I thought
Yeah.
it was like the first one to do it, but like it
I mean, if you're
I
sorry.
don't know, yeah,
Sorry,
I
I
was just
thought
saying
you finished what you were
Avengers.
saying.
No, I was just gonna say the Avengers is like another one of those. My point is that just like I'm wildly entertained by those. That's why I rank them so highly.
Yeah, I kind of agree with
Yes.
that because like for me, like if like the writing in Endgame, I mean, if you're gonna start talking about like the writing being kind of like by the books, I don't really think that wouldn't apply to like. I think that pretty much
That's
applies
every
to.
movie on this
That's
list,
that's
you know?
that's pretty
Yeah.
much. I think every movie on
Yeah,
this list.
and that's why I don't like Marvel movies. That was like the whole point of my list, you guys.
The whole point was that you don't like the movies to begin with.
Yes, thank you, Jared.
I don't know. I feel like
why is
yes,
the top
every-
movie on your list number 23?
I feel like while every like movie obviously like it has to have that formula of like there's the good guys, there's the bad guys, the good guys win, with the exception of Infinity War, which is what
Which is
I
why I
actually
ranked
really
it so
liked about.
high. I actually ranked it
Yeah,
so
I
high
feel like
because of that, because it subverted the expectation. I know everyone knew there was a part 2, but like that was compared to Endgame where everyone was like at the end when they're like showing all the faces of all the characters, like Iron Man, you know what I mean? Like with their signatures. Like everyone was like going crazy. At the end of Infinity War, I walked out of that theater and it was quiet. No one cheered, no
Yeah.
one clapped. Everyone was
It
just
was
like,
wild.
what happened?
And like honestly, if I had ranked it like not using the like tool thing that we ranked it, I would have put like Infinity War in a totally different spot, right? Because it was so different and it was so like groundbreaking. But I ranked it based off of like, is this a movie that I would watch multiple times? You know, and Infinity War and Endgame to me aren't movies that I would watch multiple times. Like Infinity War was cool. I only need to watch it once to get what I got from it. Endgame, no. And switch that around. Endgame was cool. Got what I want from it. Don't need to watch it again. Infinity War was so like soul shattering. I don't want to watch it again. Like I don't think I could handle it emotionally to watch it again.
That's what makes it a
which
good
is why it's, like,
movie,
so-
and that's why it's so highly on my list.
Yeah.
No, but like that's just it tells you like how
She's
we
just saying
rank
like
it
her
differently.
criteria, but I totally see what you're saying, Jared. Like, I think like your first time seeing a movie is definitely like about like that's a valid criteria to rank something
Yeah.
on. You know, like I have like pieces of media too that like the first time I played them or like watched them or consumed them, it was like amazing, and like I still consider it some of my favorites, even though it's not something that like I would do again.
Hey, Liam and
Yeah.
I's Corello review would like to disagree with you. Liam and
But
his
yeah,
4
no,
out of
it's just-
10.
But Jared, it's sympathy for the devil. It's like DeVille. Jared,
God.
Thanos was just misunderstood, it guys. Come on.
No. Is that why he threw his daughter off a cliff? Just misunderstood.
He,
Oh.
he
You know
he
why?
said,
Why
"Dad,
is
I
he
want you to
off a
throw
cliff?
me a party," and he heard, "I want you to throw me."
No, it would have been better if
Okay.
what should have happened is Thanos should have it should have happened is Thanos should have sent 3 Dalmatians to tackle Gamora off the cliff.
Oh my God.
Ah, yes.
That
Oh,
was
boy.
I don't know.
Well,
It was just wild.
that
Yeah.
was
Good
a
list,
lot
though.
to
Good
unpack.
rankings.
I'd
Yeah.
like to note that it appears Jared is literally talking quieter because we've gone so late into
Yes. I
overtime
have
that
been
he
yelled
cannot
at.
wake his family.
I have been yelled at by my mother, and she is scarier than Thanos. So, yeah. So yeah, I think any last words about the Marvel movies overall?
No.
Please no.
Yeah,
All right, I'm cutting
screw
everyone off.
Hawkeye.
Screw Hawkeye.
No, screw Hawkeye. That's it.
The thing about For the Dark World,
Oh God. Oh my God. Liam, don't even start. Oh my God.
it needed more
Yeah.
Hawkeye.
No, please no. My final thought is Marvel, whoever casted Hawkeye, whoever wrote him in the movies, count your days. I'm coming after you.
But yeah, so I guess, well, at least some of us, except for Gwyneth. I don't know. Are you looking forward to Phase 4? I'm looking forward to Phase 4.
I'm looking. I was looking forward to WandaVision, and it wasn't that great. But I will be watching Black Widow.
That's a different discussion, Ashley. Not right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna.
We will have a Black Widow review, so if anyone is interested in doing that, we will review Black Widow. So keep an eye out for that. Yeah, I'm gonna cut us all off now because we are going hella over late, and it is very late at night now. So, as always, I want to thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard today, you can follow us on YouTube and give us a follow on Spotify. And then you can also follow us on Instagram at Castles and Company and on Twitter at Castles, capital N Company. And finally, on our website, castlesandcompany.com. So until next time, remember this, laughter is timeless, imagination has no age, and dreams are forever. So have a magical rest of your night.